And welcome back once again to Memoirs of the Father. I am your host, the Father, Alex Burnham. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day as always. And if not, hopefully this conversation will turn that frown upside down and make your day just a tad bit better. But we'll see. If you have not had a chance yet, or if this is your first time watching, you can go and check out my other videos here on YouTube. They'll all should be linked together. I've got 19 other episodes. You can also follow me on TikTok at AttackOnAlex64 if you want to view additional content, promotional stuff. Anytime I'm going to post something, I put it on there. So if you have not checked that out or you are not following me on there, please feel free to do that. And today I've got a special guest, Abby Lawson. She is a former cheerleader at a slew of different places. She spent 4 years at Graves County High School and won nationals and a couple state titles. 1 year at Morehead State Coed, and then three years with all girl. 1 year as an assistant coach there, so 4 years in total with all girl, and then another year at Memphis, and you won national championships at Morehead and Memphis. Does that generally sum you up just a tad bit? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's pretty much me.
Yeah, you did partner stunt taping 1 year too, didn't you?
I did the taping. It never. We ended up pulling out before nationals.
What year did you do that? Was that your?
My junior year. So my third year at Morehead, I believe, is when I did that.
Okay. We haven't got to the point yet where we've been out of cheerleading as long as we were in it. So we've got. But so there's a lot of years that we've known each other that are kind of jam-packed together into one. And I guess like the perfect way to sum up like our whole deal is like the first time that we met, or the first time that we knew we met. Because like when you came to the open gyms, you were like weeks late from when we had advertised them. And you've told me the whole story about that. And then I seen you coming in, bushy-haired girl, you kind of like happy as could be. And before you even had a chance to go anywhere, I was like, just come here. You're with me. He's like, here for the cheerleading, which I should have known. You were like, had the Sophie shorts and you had on the shoes. Like, it was obvious. And I was like, are you here for this? And you're like, yep. I was like, just come over here with me. And that's pretty much like the history of that. And now I'm dating your mom. And we're.
It all started with sending each other Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then you talked to my mom.
Yeah.
And now here we are.
Yeah, that's how it goes. I guess that's the normal way.
It's actually how you're supposed to meet moms, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It's effective. It was. I only tried it the one time, but I guess it works pretty good.
It works 1 out of 1 times.
So that's gonna be the odd thing that you get. Like for us, it's normal. For other people, it would be odd. But like we've lived together since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you did a whole year there. I was just around. I was an alumni guy, and then your second year is when I came in as an actual assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that's also the same year that I moved in without. But it was way later down the road because that was probably closer to like January.
Yeah.
Because I was still in school in college. And then, like I said, we've pretty much been living together since then. And then, I mean, it wasn't too very long before you went off to Morehead. And obviously, we didn't see you as much then. Coming in and out, like just when you're home. And then obviously being home for the summers. But like, I mean, pretty much by the time you got done with school, you were right into like living. Like, you know, it's not like you came home and hung out with us for a few months and figured things out. Like, I mean, you would come around in some. It's not like you've ever been away. You know, but like it's been a long time since like this has been like your main residence.
Yeah, I would come in mainly for summer, so it was like 2 months at a time.
Yeah.
But.
And that's if you didn't have stuff going on, because like 1 year you worked the camps.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So like, but we've been around each other and known each other for a really, really long time.
Yeah, very long time.
And we have an interesting dynamic because like I taught you to stunt, and I felt like no matter where you went, no matter where you stunted with, we were really good together. Like it didn't matter what partners you had or anything. When you came home and like we would work together, it was just like where we left off.
Yeah, we would just pick right back up.
Like stupid, because like we'll talk about it some when we get into it. But I remember you talking like you would call me some and talk to me about The one guy you had your first year and how much he frustrated. I can't remember his name, but we won't put him on blast right now. He's like, I can't hit a pull up. He's like, why can't he? I was like, what? What's he wrong? I was like, that's the easiest pull up in the world.
Yeah.
Austin used to say the same. I'm like, Austin, you're wrong,
Austin
but...
told me I'd never hit a full up with anybody because I wouldn't stop spinning.
And then I hit it directly after he said
Yes.
I was like, this skill right here. I was like, this one. I was like, you just got to get in there and block it, buddy. But yeah, so like, we have obviously an interesting dynamic, but we really won't get into that a whole lot because we're really going to cover just your years at Morehead. And typically, like when the kids go off, I kind of don't really involve myself with them for a lot of different reasons. It's not like I don't talk to you guys because like I'll reach out to anybody, but it's like it's not my responsibility anymore. And what I mean by that is that like I don't ever want to tell you guys something that goes against what your coaches are telling you or what your teammates are telling you because that's part of what you are a part of now. And like it's fine for me to be encouraging or, you know, a little thing here or there, but like I never want what I say to counteract the philosophy because the philosophy that you now live in, if you don't learn how to adapt to that and you keep coming back to me and what I say, that may not be efficient to get you through these years. And most of the time, like I always tell the boys, like I can only give you a taste. I was like, never anything that I will ever really put you through will ever be adequately describe what you're going to go through. I can't recreate going to school. I can't recreate being responsible for yourself. Yeah. I can't recreate getting up at 4 a.m. for workouts. Like I can't do that stuff because the law for high school won't allow me to do some of these things to you.
It definitely is a whole big eye opener when you do out.
And like I said, but like cultures are different. Like the way coaches coach are different. Like John was pretty tough, but like he was also fair and pretty consistent most of the time. I felt like, and he evolved a lot. But like it's just a different mindset too when you get around. It's a whole nother game when you're trying to juggle around those many egos and like there are certain things that you'll have to hear that I wouldn't know, that I wouldn't be familiar with, or that like those are not, you know, having one guy that thinks he's so awesome is one thing, and we would have some of that every year, but it's just one.
Yeah.
What happens when you have a team full of 8 or 9 or 10 guys that all think they're the best? And like it's all fun, it's all competitive, but at some point people clash, especially and you have to be able to navigate that differently. And I've said it before, like when you get to college cheerleading, usually everybody that's there is the best from wherever they came from.
Yep.
Or one of the best. And they're used to be. And for some people, they're the best right then, right now. And there's a lot of people that used to be that are learning what it's like to be at the bottom of the pole now. It's just different. Like you have to rewire and rework certain things. And I just always felt like if I get too involved with that, or if you rely on me too much, like I don't ever want to do anything that violates that because it's important for you guys to fit into it. And you know, like I said, I'll answer any questions and help people out as best I can, but I tend generally like let you guys deal with what you do. And I was not really any different with you.
Yeah.
You know, I think like when we get close to nationals, I would just be like, hey, how you feeling? Or I would see you at the showcase and be like, you guys look good. Like I'm telling you everything that a parent would tell you.
Yeah.
Because like that's all. Like I don't know. Like I've seen the performance. Like I have no idea what you've been through for like the last month to get ready. Like I'd see you when you come home for Christmas break, and you're like dying inside for you know the 3 or 4 days that you got to be home, and then you're off. But like I don't really know. I mean, we used to see the bruises. Those are pretty prominent. You'd have some really nice ones that you're like, look at this. Like,
the bigger the bruise, the better the routine.
But like I think one year you were like. I think maybe it was the last year that you competed. Maybe I remember we were walking back to warm up, and I seen you using the trainer room. Like you had the diaper on.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But it was like they had to like wrap your growing to wrap your thigh, and you were looking at you like I've got like 6 layers of underwear on is what it feels like right now.
Yeah,
and
it was just like actually wearing a diaper.
I had to clip the picture in because you're just laying back there. I still have the picture. Like I see you, I still have the picture, and I just come in the training room and we chat. My team's supposed to be warming up out there to go, and I'm like, what are you doing? And we just sit there and we had a moment. We had a lot of moments together at Morehead, and we'll get to talk about a lot of them. I don't know. I know I haven't told you this. I know we won't get it to this episode because we're going to do the 3. But your 4th year, I was at McCracken then, and we did the Morehead showcase. and you were there. And I remember you were crying like when you came out on the floor because it was supposed to be at that time. You thought that was going to be your last year there, and like it was all emotional. And I remember when we got back on the bus, I started crying. And I haven't told you this before, but I did. And some of the kids came up to me. They're like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Nothing's wrong." I was like, "It's just this is the end of this." I was like, "It's different because like we had never had like I don't know what's going to change." Like, I felt for you too because like your whole life, that's always how we had known each other, is through cheerleading. And like for you, in some way, shape, or form, this was getting ready to end, and it was going to be different. And it was important for you. And I was like looking back to like where I taught you, and like all the shit that we went through in the beginning to like, like we haven't talked about it, and I've not brought it up because it's not my place to. But like, there were people that were rough on you. There were people that said a lot of things about you not being good enough, not being talented enough, and all that. And like, here we are. For me, it was like 8 years later, and like, I mean, the whole like point of you getting on there was basically like me risking risking my health and my career because
Yeah.
I was supposed to have surgery, and they basically told me like if you don't do this, don't have this surgery, like you're gonna risk not walking. And I was just like, well, I can hold on for a few more months to get you, basically, and it was only so much just to get you through the door. Because I mean, when your first year, you came in a tougher atmosphere because like they didn't graduate any girls the year before.
Mm-hmm.
And in large, typically at this point, like 4 stunts was kind of right where you were. We were teetering towards 5, and like when they did the 5, you were in the 5. But like the main 4, they weren't going to include you in that yet. And that was kind of like, and if they hadn't made the decision to bump the numbers up, they would have gotten mollywopped. But like, you wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to go at all because like the big reason why they put you on the floor that first year was just to fly in these stunts like a walk-in extension or a toss extension and a hand slip,
Yeah.
the basic stuff. But like, they needed the girl.
Yeah.
And like if they had gone the route of state 4, like everything changed, which you improved a lot over your first year and your second year. And like I said, by the time you got to your junior year, I felt like you were like striding. But like your junior year was also one of the hardest ones for you because of, once again, a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, people just not knowing what I knew, and it frustrating me that people didn't know it.
Yeah.
But like I've also said too, like if it wasn't for you, people would not respect me at all, because the fact that I was right about you is what made me, and it changed everything because John was willing to listen to me after you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the shot to go to McCracken, you best believe a lot of people are like, oh, that guy knows that. Like, do you remember when you come to practices and people were like, that's Abby? And they're like,
I
people
felt
knew
like
you.
a celebrity.
People knew you at our program, and you were not a part of our program.
I was never a part of McCracken's program, but yeah, I felt like a celebrity, and even Jennifer was like, "I'm so glad you're here. Do you want to go be in a group?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll go jump in a group."
Because too, like your notoriety and all that stuff, it ended up, like I said, what you ended up becoming was what I always felt like truly, man. Like people stopped talking about me because of that. Mm-hmm. And I know like people used to say a lot of things like he's not safe or he doesn't know what he's talking about. And like they didn't say that anymore. And they didn't ever say it again, thankfully. But it always gets bigger, too. Like it's always an uphill battle with stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's always somebody that hasn't learned the lesson that everybody else has already been taught. And you got to go and teach it to them one more time. And I hate doing that. I used to be that way competitively. Like some team would be like, oh, we're going to win nationals this year. I was like, I don't even know who you are. And like, you think you're just going to beat me? And like, I've got like 8, 9, 10 titles. You think it's that simple that you can just say that you want to do it? Like that used to piss me off. So I'm like, hey, we're hopeful to be at a good place. That's fine. Don't sit here and tell me when you don't even know me and you've never tried. Like, I hated that. And I had a lot more experience of that at McCracken because we'd have teams drop in all the time from large. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you think this is going to be easier? I was like, I swear to God, it's not. Like, if you think having less guys out there is going to be beneficial, come find out. And we bankrupted a lot of programs finding out.
Oh, yeah.
I was really proud of the tyrannical run that we had at McCracken. Bro, by the time we got to that last year, none of the teams left were there originally except for us from that first year.
Yeah.
I mean, we steamrolled and ran people out, ran people into small. Some went to large, some went all girl, and like, I don't ever want to like drive a program up. Like when you were treating us the way that you did, I have no problem with that. Like, go away, because like we don't need you here anyway. If that's the kind of way you're gonna be, like, before you decided on Morehead, were there any places that you were looking at?
Yeah. So in I think 2013, I went to a clinic at Memphis, and at first it was just like, oh, this little girl doing like the easy skills, whatever, and all of a sudden I did a rewind with somebody, and one of the other Memphis cheerleaders came over and was like, why didn't you tell me? So then it just became like, okay, what else can you do? What else can you do? So then by the end of it, the coach at the time, which they were in the middle of switching coaches, but the coach at the time asked had I thought about Memphis, and honestly, it wasn't on my radar, because everybody was like, do not move to Memphis. That is too dangerous. You're a small girl. You cannot live in Memphis. Foreshadowing, by the way. So that was somewhat on my radar, and there was, talk of getting a full ride or a big scholarship of some sorts and whatnot. My dad wanted me to go to UK because it being a Kentucky high school, like UK was UK, like the basketball team and everything. And he was like, it'd be awesome to see you as a UK cheerleader. And in my head, I was like, I can't make it as a UK cheerleader. It's not going to happen. But Mark helped choreograph Graves County, and then when I graduated high school, he was now coaching Morehead. And I'll never forget my senior year of high school, we lost, and obviously I'm crying, and Mark just gives me a hug, and he said, that's okay. You'll come win for me at Morehead. And that's whenever, once an eagle, always an eagle, because we were the Graves County Eagles, and Morehead, their mascot are eagles. So it was just once an eagle, always an eagle. So I was like, all right. And I was so scared to tell my dad. I was like, look, I can't be a wildcat. I got to be an eagle. I've got to spread my wings and fly. And nobody had heard of Morehead at all. Like, if you're not in cheerleading, you don't know what Morehead is. Yeah. It's like this little bitty town that's literally known only in the cheer world.
The mountains of, it's literally the mountains.
The Daniel Boone's National Forest. It's in the Appalachian Mountains.
You're literally a city in that forest. Like, that's not an exaggeration. Like, y'all have Buffalo Wild Wings and that movie theater.
Or you can drive about 25-30 minutes to go to Walmart, depending on where you're. If you're on campus, it took about 20 minutes to get to Walmart.
Like that, and that theater too is like, it's literally got the same color scheme as like the Blockbuster from like the 90s. I remember that as a kid. It's literally, I don't think it's been updated. At least the outside has not been updated or renovated probably in years. Like it looks identical to it did when I was in school, except some of the lights on the front don't work.
Yeah. So the top 3 things to do at Morehead: go to B-Dubs, climb Lakiji Rock, or go swim in the Cave Run Lake. Those were the top 3 things. Or have a party at the cheer house. Like that was all you did.
That was pretty much all. There's not a lot, and we'll get into some of that too, because obviously that plays a part in a couple things. Mm-hmm. It plays a part in one of the reasons why Morehead's so good, because there's nothing else to do. Go to the gym and work. Like that's, what else are you gonna do?
Yep.
Climb this mountain. I'm just gonna go.
Climb the mountain 20 times already.
I'm climbing this mountain. It's not getting any mountainier. I'm gonna go work on my skills.
The scenery does not change. It's the same every time.
Also, too, and I'm sure you've been testaments, like having nothing to do for some people is not good. It's free time when you're not used to having free time, or you're your own individual now. Mommy and daddy are not on your shoulder. You've got free time to do whatever you want. And you don't know what you can and can't do, but you're ready to find out.
Well, you also get bored, and you're like, well, let's try something that maybe I never thought I would, just because you're bored.
Yeah. And sometimes those stories are infamous. So I want to ask you now, before we really dig into a lot of this and get into everything, looking back at it now, after all these years of being done, what does it mean to you today to have been a part of, or what does the program mean to you as a whole?
It's very cliche, and they tell you, like, when you enter this is your family. These are the people that you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. And, going through it, you're like, yeah, whatever. Like, these are my best friends, but paths grow apart, whatever. I feel so much pride that I was able to accomplish the things that I did. Like, there are a lot of hardships that go on there. And I think that everybody has their own path and their own hardships. But my path wasn't always easy. But to be able to say, like, I came out for the better, there's so much pride just being able to go through that program and come out the way I did on top. And I met such amazing people. And to this day, like Allie Minton, I just went and visited her in Georgia last month. Like, she's still one of my best friends, and we cheered together. We went through the gutter together. Like, you really do find your people there. But the other thing that's amazing on an alumni side is how much they still involve you and they want you involved in the program. And like going through as a cheerleader, like you're always told you have to know your alumni, you have to know your history of the school and the program and all this stuff. And, going through it, you're like, oh, I've got so much to do already. Like, I'm living this right now. But like as an alumni, it was just like I have cheerleader, like I'm on a list and they have to do challenges through the summer. And one of them is like reach out to an alumni and ask questions. And each summer I get phone calls from people and they like ask me questions. And it's so amazing to still be involved in the program. But then also like the other people who I never cheered with, but I did meet because they were alumni when I was on the team. Like, and then you meet them outside and you get so many opportunities. Tony Crump cheered for Morehead, and then he went and coached Memphis, and I got to cheer on Memphis, and I got to cheer under Tony Crump, and it was just a connection that him and I had that was really special too, because like we had met at Morehead, and then I got to cheer for him, and it was just this awesome moment. So it's the connections you make that follow you, and going through it, it's so hard. It's a very intimidating and a very intense program, and you're like, this probably was the worst mistake of my life because it's so hard. But once you get out of it, you're like, man, like I did that.
Yeah.
I did, and I made up new skills, or I did skills that were unheard of during my time, or I created a trend, or I was a part of creating a trend, or whatever.
Chin pop girl.
Yeah, I had no idea I was known for the chin pop until it was a picture at Nationals. It was like they snapped the most perfect picture of that chin pop, and I was reading all the comments and everything, and then I even had people that would come up to me and just like how much they loved watching me perform and all this stuff, and little old Graves County cheerleader bopping in, not knowing anything. I
remember me and you one year, we were on the football field. I can't remember when it was, but the black men coach came up to you and she's like, oh, I just want to tell you, you had the most perfect chin pop. She's like, everybody was talking, like, you're the chin pop girl. That's the way that she talked about it. Like, she's like, I show all my girls your videos and I want them all to do this like you. And I was like, we're just having a personal conversation about where we want to go to. Like, we're just having like a parently conversation. Like, we just doing our thing. And like, people just want to come up and be like, like it's a crazy thing because like people infamously knew you at one point. Like,
absolutely.
I would go out and say this, and I've said it before, and I've said it publicly, but like, I mean, the year that y'all won, I felt you could make the strongest argument in the world that you were like the best. And I felt like you could legitimately make that claim. At least, from a stunning perspective. Because like your center point for the biggest program, or one of the big. There's not many huge programs that have histories like that. Like, Morehead's, even their all girl program has, if you took it on its own, as an elite and illustrious, prestigious career. Like a lot of people will never touch just what that one aspect of the program has done. And like to be a center focal point, and your performance and your execution and all the other stuff that you did, I felt like you really could make the argument at that point. And most people never get to say that.
And if you were to have ever asked me at any point in my cheer career, and still to this day, if you ever ask, like, if I ever thought I was the best, I would tell you no. I just went in, did my job, and got out. But to have people come up to me, it was a moment of like, I probably should not be conceited at all by any means, but I probably should pat myself on the back more for what I did, and the skills that I was able to do. Because I had a lot of people that would brag about how I looked while performing, and they wanted their top girls to look like me. And like you said, I was a point flyer. I was center. We did an M, and I was like the center point of the M, or if we did an arrow, I was the center. But at no point was I ever in my head like, yeah, I'm the best. I was confident, and I was proud to have that M on my chest, or Morehead to have that on my chest. I was so proud. So it was just being proud of my school.
I feel like one thing, the performance aspect alone really made you stand out above a lot of people, especially when you're on your own team. And nothing against anybody, because there's a lot of great people and a lot of great athletes. There's a lot of great top girls that don't know how to perform. And there's a lot of great top girls that don't know what a high V is. And it would blow, like, I see it all the time. Like, they don't know how to stand in the air. Like, they're great, they're getting in the air, but, like, there's things that they're doing that I can see as a guy or as a coach. And, like, I know that, like, no matter how impressive that skill is, like, the first thing I'd be like, is you got to fix your high V.
Yeah.
And like you hear the coaches like that all the time. Like John was that way, Mark is that way.
Yeah.
I'm that way, Jennifer's that way. You could just absolutely obliterate this stunt out of the water, but if the motions look bad, that's the first thing that we're gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Because like that's to us, it's like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what the skill is. Truthfully, we really don't care. It's the way that you do it. And like from the performance aspect, like whether you were doing the signs, the palms, whether you were as a mid layer, you were performing. And a lot of times you don't see that because the people are trying to like not die and like catch people, and like it's like you got a really important job to do.
Yeah.
But like a lot of times, a lot of mid layers forget to perform. The best teams, they always remember to do it. But you notice like when you're in this situation, we'll get to this too. There were times where like you were the more experienced person on the floor, and other people around you don't know to do these things, and that's when like your seniors and your leaders, when they always talk about that at the beginning of this year, like. When your coaches tell you that we want you to look like seniors at practice, is like, I want you to look like someone that I don't have to correct. That's what it really means. Like, do your motions like you've been on this team for 4 years, because the last thing that I want to teach someone that's a veteran in my program is how to perform and how to smile and how to be sharp, because I shouldn't have to. Because Absolutely. If you don't do it and you're 3 years ahead of this person, there's no way that they're going to care about it.
Yep.
And like I said, I feel like you accomplished a lot of great things, and we're going to look at a lot of them too. We'll go into your tryout here. You did the spring clinic, and you had to do that to get your bid to go.
Yep.
And then I remember when you guys left, because I didn't go because I was working. I know your mom went. So walk me through what you went through, just the stuff that you did, because I know you've told me a little bit already about an interview. So just from the time you get up there, tell me what goes through day by day.
For the tryouts?
Yeah, from everything forward. Like the time you left this house, because you did the practices and stuff still. You have interviews, open gyms. Kind of go into what the whole purpose of all that is.
Yeah. So definitely had to go to that clinic to get my bid. And then it happens in the spring. Tryouts are around May. I actually missed my senior prom because I chose cheerleading tryouts instead of prom. There were options to try out like a day early, but I just didn't want to miss out on the whole experience. I was like, you know what, prom? I've already been to prom twice. I don't need it again. So you get up there and you get a number. Well, you get up there and you have a practice, and that's really. You got like 3 days before the tryout. And if you need a partner, you can find one there. Or if you already have a partner, practice your skills that you're wanting to do for tryouts. You get ready for your interview. So that's when you get a number. And it's a panel of alumni. and then coaches are in there too. But it's alumni really asking you questions. And I got asked, why did I choose Morehead? Why do I want to cheer? Things about me and what makes me who I am.
Do you remember what your answers to those? And if you were an alumni now sitting there watching you, would you like those answers?
I do not remember because I'm going to be so honest. I was so nervous, especially my first year, which, okay, I had a little bit of like a leg up because at high school nationals, the day after everybody competes, you go to the football field and you stunt.
Mm-hmm.
And so people had watched me and you stunning. Benji
Yeah,
saw me.
Benji was with us, paired up with us.
And he pulled me over and he asked me to stunt with him. And now I didn't hit the skill, but he was like, hey, you're actually like not terrible. And I was like, oh. And to me, like, Benji was like this amazing, oh my, like an idol. And I was like, oh my, like I was almost shitting myself that Benji even asked me to stunt. I was like, me? Are you sure? And so that was like super just awesome. So it was like I'd already kind of known some of the Morehead people. And since Mark was the coach and he had choreographed us, like I had gotten to meet quite a few of them. So when I got there, I had like some people that I could talk to, but I was so nervous. And like I said, like these people at Morehead that have been there and like they're your idols. You watch them perform and you want to be just like them. The only thing I could eat that entire time was Sonic's mozzarella sticks. That's all I ate for 4 days. Sonic mozzarella sticks.
Well, I know I spent more money than that.
Yes, it wasn't because of money. It was literally because that was the only thing I could actually keep down. I was so nervous. And so during the interview time, I feel like I just have really low confidence. Like my self image was just like terrified. And they had asked why I chose Morehead. I want to say it was to the extent of like watching the people that were on there and just being in such awe of Morehead. And I didn't really look at any other program the way I was looking at Morehead, but also the way Mark had like invited me to be there too. And so you hear about the traditions, and again, when you're in the cheer world, like you hear so much about like Morehead alumni, the people that you meet there, the traditions. So my answers were somewhat of that. I was absolutely terrified though. And you do the interview, so you have at least a day or two, depending on when you get there, to like practice your skills that you're going to do. Then you do the interview and there's open gym, you can practice. And then that Saturday it's either Saturday or that Sunday when the tryouts happen. And I had the luxury when I tried out, somebody I went to high school with, we tried out together, Tellis. And so we had practiced some of the skills at home in the high school, and we taught ourselves, and it was jankier than crap. But when we went down there, they were like, wow, these two freshmen are trying out together, which was like unheard of. Yeah. Two freshmen trying out together is like you typically want to go with somebody more experienced to feel safer. But they're like, these two freshmen are trying out, and they're doing a hand-to-hand immediate. And then they're doing a round-off rewind. And it was like, at the time, not skills that high schoolers would have. But yeah.
No, because, well, the inversions weren't legal in high school anyway. And then the hand-in-hand was still not that common in college at the time. Because I was already in cheerleading when someone did it the first time. Like, I witnessed that with my own eyes. The first time Kentucky did it in a sequence, and they did it to a platform to stretch, and then nobody did it again for years. And at this point, we're only 5 or so years removed from that, 5, 6 maybe. So it still wasn't that common at the time amongst the place. Like, Kentucky was probably like playing more around with the extended because they were always a step ahead. But I think Morehead was probably pretty close to the same range because I think They competed the first year that Mark was there. They competed just a hand in hand. Was part of a sequence, like they did a front handspring up and they did just a hand. So you're 2 years removed from that, and like there's two kids who are you're not even 18.
No, I was. I had just no. I was May. It was May. I was 17.
Yeah.
I hadn't even turned 18 yet.
And Tellus is like a baby.
Yeah.
And like like it's an impressive thing, and like I understand, and like it was gorgeous too. Like the hand in hand was on the money, pretty. And, like you can hear, like I have the trial video. It's just the reaction of the people around you tells more than anything else that you guys could do. Because like if you saw that video today, some people would be like, because the thing still comes forward. But like, when you see the reaction of everybody around you, it always reminds you, like no matter what time frame it is, it always reminds you of how big a deal it was. And you always have to do that when you look back at old cheerleading videos. Like when you go back and look at old stuff, you're like, oh, that would be a breeze today. But like people are going bananas in the crowd, like losing, like so loud you can't even hear people yelling during the cheer. And it's like they just did a toss lib. But like you didn't see that stuff once upon a time. There's always a time when the usher, and I think too, like I say this about like everybody who thinks that it was easy to get where they are today should turn around and thank the people behind them, because the only way that it's easy is if we make it easy. Because it's easier to follow a path that somebody has already walked in than to carve your own out. And like so like when cheerleading is better today than it's ever been, that just means that my generation did its job.
Yeah.
Because we figured these skills out to where we can teach them and grow. And like that's the great thing about everything. Like everything is expanding, and that's why it's important that you guys are still a part of it.
Yeah.
Because you guys are the ones that made it. I remember the first group for partner stunt. Bill Mayo brought them up. Like these are the first girls to compete a front handspring full up ever. That was the partner stunt group. First time ever. You perform that skill as a group in your routine. And once upon a time, there was someone that were the very first people to do it. That were in your program. And we're talking about like 4 or 5 years later, and you were performing this skill as a group, everybody. That's what I'm talking about. Like, they cut the path. All you guys had to do was follow, because you had people, and they taught this person, and that person taught this person, and now everybody's grown because this first person did it. And you guys did it easier because nobody before them had ever been able to do it.
Yeah.
But it's easier now because they figured out how, and they just made sure to give it to everybody. And people tweak it and change it and expand it and make it easier and smoother. That's how it all goes. But like, that's a testament too, because like there are things that you're going to do that eventually it becomes commonplace. But at the time, it was like you fought forever to get it.
Oh yeah.
But it's because you carved the path, and now it's easier for everybody to walk through that road that you've already laid down. It's a horrible thing back in the day to ride a horse in a buggy on dirt road, but it was really nice when someone laid down concrete. And it's a whole lot easier to drive a car on that than it is anything. But you can never drive a car on a bumpy road.
Yeah, well, at
Morehead, you can, but
Morehead,
you'll tear it up.
at Morehead, there was the saying, it was FTOBU for the ones before us.
Yeah.
And it was put into like routine music and everything. Now, once we got into national season, it was for the ones beside us.
Yeah.
Because we were the ones in the trenches at
Yeah,
the moment.
yeah.
But, when you're learning these skills, it was for the ones before us. Like, we want to do good because these people paved that path for us.
Yeah.
And so we want to continue to make our alumni proud.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that Morehead still holds true. Like, they are striving, and the things they do are unimaginable. Like,
Yeah.
I'm jealous because I want to be out there trying all these skills, but I don't know that I would be able to in my day, like being this far removed,
I literally told Brandon this last time that me and Brandon sat down, if I came around today, I would be better. I don't know if I'd be more successful. And that to me is the most outstanding part about what is. During my time, I dominated, and I'm content with that. You could bring me in today, and like being as the best I was would be just another guy today.
Oh yeah.
And like maybe not even that guy.
Oh yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, if you gave me the right role, you could find a place for me on the floor anywhere. You could do that. The same thing for you. You can do that. But if you're asking me to go out here and do a shotgun, I'm going to tell you no. Make me an alternate. Like there are some things when I look at them, I am so thankful that my time is up because like we used to always joke with it. Let's do a shotgun, and it was laughable because we would get our skulls crushed in. And I've seen videos of people getting destroyed. Like you better have a check with a certain dollar amount if you even want me to attempt this. I'm not going to. Like, I don't care if people say, "Oh, it's not that bad." No, I don't want that. There are certain skills like that. I'm just like, I don't want any part of this. Thank God that
See,
thank God that my
I'm
time is over
not
with.
too far removed. I will try it. Now, listen, I don't think that I will be any good or have any control, and it might come down the hardest that it's ever come down. But I'll try it. If somebody was to throw me, I will try it.
I don't have good enough dental. I don't have good enough dental coverage to fix what that skill would do to me. Like, and I have really good dental coverage, and like, I just, yeah. But like at the same time, like, it's a testament. Like, they keep pushing the envelope, and it's good. It's a testament that everything's growing. But like I said, it always comes back to, we pushed the bar so far. We made sure it was easier for other people to get there, which is the most important part. It's not like somebody made me do these skills.
Yeah.
I knew how to do them. I taught other people to do them. The people that I taught knew how to do it. The people that taught me taught other people. And it made it easier to where, it's
You just get a lot of creativity down the line.
When the best people in your program continue to be involved with the other people in their program and bring people along with them, great things happen. And that is one of the testaments to Morehead, because when you have your alumni around, when some people who are 10 years removed from a problem that you once faced, and they haven't had to, because all these people that knew what that was like are now gone, there is someone that can remind them of what will happen if they keep doing things this certain way, or if they're in this situation. Because I always said this, like, the hardest thing when you get momentum, once you get past 4, and it's even hard to win 4 in a row now, after that 4th one, everyone that you have on your team does not know what it's like to lose.
Yeah.
And that's different. Like, when you don't have people that know that feeling or to be in those certain situations, all you know is when it's good. Well, when it's not, they don't know what to do anymore. That's new to them.
Yeah.
And like, it's always better to be trending upward and like, oh, I got over this mountain. Well, like, if you're already on top of the mountain and there's nowhere to go, everything is going to push you down, and you feel like you're just climbing to get back to where you were.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest part. So like, that's a testament, because like, I mean, Morehead's got insane links, like really long title runs in there. And then there were times like, I mean, all girl had a rough go, I think, under Bill's time a little bit. I know the Coed was winning a lot. And the all girl
even
had
when I was
bit.
there, it was a little rocky for a little bit.
But like, it had kind of been, but there's always spurts in there. And a lot of that changes too. Quality of competition changed.
Yeah.
That was probably, I'm betting that's probably when West Georgia came in, probably around that Bill Mail, because like, you were already competing against them. So I bet like one of the reasons why they had a little bit tougher go is quality of competition is a little bit different. And there's a lot more pressure on you to do this, this, and this. And it's not a bad thing. It's like, it just reinforces the ideas that you preach. Like, because I've heard Bill say it more than anybody. Like, you're never even going to get away with a bobble when you're Morehead State. That's what he used to say. You're not even going to get away with that. So like, that all that does is reinforce that truth. Like, you're not going to get away with these things.
Yeah.
Before, I don't even know who y'all's most prominent competition was before then. But like I said, I knew that there was the one year they were in D1A and they were up against like Indiana and Alabama, and they just whooped ass. So
Yeah,
it's hard to say, because some
I don't even
years
know.
it was tough. But like,
I was just in my, like, the space, the environment I was in, and the space. I knew, obviously, like, you have to go against somebody. There's competition. I knew it was like, you've got to hit to win.
Yeah.
But I was so bad about knowing who we were going against, just because I was so involved in, like, what we were doing and, like, creating the atmosphere that I was in. I didn't care about somebody else, because that was the other part, is the only people that, and this was the thing that we told, like, this is what we said at Morehead all the time. The only team that can beat Morehead is Morehead.
Yeah.
You get in your head and you bobble, like, then you beat yourself, and another team was able to go in.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I didn't care who we were going against. It was, I need to make sure I'm doing my business.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, that's true too. And I mean, everybody talks about winning, and a lot, Morehead talks about winning more than anybody I've ever been around. And that's Mark too. But like, it was like that pre-him, like it was always about winning. That was a lot of the conversation. But one of the conversations that we don't always have is that you're really not a contender until the music's over in finals. Truthfully, you really don't know. because you can have all kinds of dreams, you can have all kinds of aspirations, you can have all kinds of goals. But if something happens in that last 2.5 minutes, all of a sudden you're not anymore. You're sitting there, you're going to awards, and you know you're not going to win. But if you focus on all the other stuff that doesn't take place until after that last performance, you will have problems from the beginning until the end of that. The minute that you start letting that occur. So, like, if you're worried about X, Y, and Z, these teams down the road,
Yep.
I don't even know if I'm going to be in a conversation with them yet. I mean, with you guys, it's different. You're Morehead. You know, as long as we do, even if we do less than desirable, we're still probably in the conversation almost all the time. Like, if you have a mistake, most people are like, oh, that doesn't mean it. Like, we got to wait and see how everybody else does. Because they're, you know, it's pretty much what they're waiting for you in West Georgia. But like, if you drop, they're like, oh, we're just going to see if West Georgia does once or twice or none. And like, if it goes more than you, like, okay, it's great. You know, but like, the truth is, like, a lot of people can get in their own head and psych themselves out before that even comes. You're like, oh, we got to go out here and win. Like, you had to put yourself in the conversation. And that conversation really doesn't happen until after the performance is over. And I don't know how much you guys ever talk about that, because it's always talk about, like, we're Morehead. And this is the expectation, is that we're going to perform. That stands above winning in a lot of ways.
It was always, always hold your head up. Like, you were so proud to be a part of Morehead.
Yeah.
And still to this day, you're so proud to be a part of Morehead. The biggest thing that I will say Morehead taught me, and this is kind of tying in through tryouts and like everything else, like going through all of those processes, it makes you so mentally tough. And so that's again, like, not freaking out about your competition. Like, you're just in this, like, it's so nerve-wracking. And like, my tryouts, like I said, the only thing I could keep down was the mozzarella sticks. But it was like, I adapted the Morehead mentality my very first tryout. It was do what you have to do. Like, hit the skill. You go ahead and adopt this mentality, like this Morehead mentality. And it's, if you're a part of the cheer world, like, you already know what the Morehead mentality is before you even get into the program.
Well, let's but you do your tryout. Obviously, you've made the team and you're on the co-ed team.
Yep.
First practice is the next day. And let's talk about this, because I want to bring this up because I've been talking about this a lot. I don't want to bash Jake, but let's go ahead and I want to bring this up because this is very important, because I have talked a lot about, just because this place can make you better does not mean you're a good fit for this place.
Now, and that is very important, and it's something that I was just talking about a month ago with one of my friends that I cheered with at Morehead. You know, in the first year, if you're going to make it in that program or if it's not for you. And so what you're talking about, I'll go ahead and go into it. You've had your interview, you've had your tryout, you made the team. The very next day, you have your first practice with your new team. We had to go out into the concrete parking lot and do 10 tucks, and you ripple them. If somebody busts, you start over. When I tried out with my friend from high school. We tried out together and made the team, but we also had a third person with us, and he tried out with somebody else. He'd made the team. Now, me and Tellis, we had our standing tuck solid. Jake did not have his standing tuck solid.
And it had been made clear to him for many months prior that he had to have this. Not just by us. Like, he was our choreographer. He told him months before.
Yeah.
We told him this all the time, every single day, regularly.
He had been
warned. Never worked on it at all.
Yes. So this is very big. If you know what is expected of you once you try out, and like, you've already been warned what's expected of you, like, that is not a suggestion. That is a warning to get it together. Because we go out there and we do our tucks, and Jake busts. He hits one, then he busts, and he busts. And at this point, he's like busted 3 in a row, meaning like he's on his hands and knees. He did not lean back on his feet for the tuck. And we're in a concrete parking lot. So his knees and his hands have hit this concrete. They are scraped up. They are bleeding. And it's again. And so we have to keep going. And so now it's like the vets on the team, they've not had to do this many standing tucks in forever because it's the expectation that you land 10 standing tucks.
I came ready to do 10, not 50.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't care. I don't care where you're at, what the environment is. If I win that gym, the gym floor, it could be spring floor, day back. After 50 standing tucks, I'm not even going to have to get to 50 before I start getting very irritable very quickly. And this goes into a few things because obviously he's going to get the shit end of the stick from everybody.
Absolutely.
Excuse my language. But like, this is a wake-up call, and that's exactly where you're going to. He knew what he was supposed to do, and he didn't do it. And other people paid the price for him not knowing what he was supposed to do, or for him not taking seriously what he was supposed to do. And this is not the place where you can play games like that.
No.
And not even just here. I mean, you wouldn't get away with that in a lot of places. And obviously, people are going to be verbal about it. But the thing that always comes back to is that when everybody else around you has to pick up your weight, that's an issue. And you can't do that. You can't survive in a place like this doing that because everybody's trying to move forward. They're trying to go. Like, why am I having to sit here and throw this skill because you're not there? And it's just you. That's the worst part about it, when it's just you. But like, it's like, we want to be progressing and we don't want to be going back tread. Like, for people like at Morehead, like standing tuck is like, it's like a layup in basketball.
Yeah.
If you missed it, you would punish yourself by doing 10 right after to prove to yourself that you couldn't do it. But you didn't. And this is a testament, like, if you won't take these things seriously, like you knew. And if you're not going to take this seriously, or how can I trust you later?
Well, the other thing that's really important, I think, that I should touch up on is, like, even though I knew people personally at Morehead and I had worked closely with Mark before, Tellis and I still went in and did the work. Like, we made sure, like I had said, our tryout was a hand-to-hand immediate lib, round off rewind, and it was 2 freshmen going in. Like, we went in and we made sure we had all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted. But then there was, this other example of somebody who's like, oh, well, I know these people. I got it in.
Yeah.
But didn't necessarily do what was needed to make sure, like, it was solid.
He treated it the same way he treated it in high school. He just figured, I've got time. I'll get it eventually. And, like, we're not waiting for eventually in college. Because it's, it goes back to what I said. There's too many people that want it more than you. If this dude's willing to give $100 for something, or this dude's willing to give $1,000, it doesn't change what that thing is, but it changes what someone's willing to give to have that.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to do these things, there is somebody that is going to, for every $100 you put in, they're willing to put in 1,000.
Yeah. For
the exact same feeling, for the exact same result, for what you have. And in an environment like this, where there are a lot of people that will. There are some people that are on that team that are getting no money.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting no financial aid. They're getting no benefit. And they are destroying their bodies in pursuit of this. And they're doing it willingly and gladly.
Absolutely.
And, like, without question. It's like, hey, I know I'm going to hate my life, but I'm going to get up and run 2 miles today because I need to be in shape. Or I suck at this skill, so I'm going to throw 10 of them in the gym to prove. Just so I have it, I'm going to make it suck a little bit less. There are people that are willing to do that. And then you've got people that are like, hey, you need to send in your videos. And it's 3 days afterwards and you still don't have them.
Yeah.
And it's something like, I need you to do a toss extension, a toss lib, a toss stretch. It's stuff like, people not even working on them.
Yeah.
Not even taking it seriously. That's real. And, like, I feel like, we'll talk about this sort, but, like, obviously, this is because I went through almost identical because my coach was from Morehead, the one that I had at Eastern. We did this too. Problem was we weren't good enough to do this, and we had a lot of Jakes. We had about 8 Jakes, So it wasn't as bad, but like at that point, it was like, okay, there's the third of the team's dead. Like,
Yeah.
and like I remember just thinking like when we got up to like in that 50 range, I was like, because I was gonna hit my standing tuck every single time. I could literally land standing up straight, like it was perfect. I had airtime, everything. I had one of the most beautiful tucks ever. After 50, my heels are hitting the ground. Like I stop absorbing a little bit more because you're getting tired.
Yep.
Even when you're absorbing well, there's still a shock because you have a shelf life on this. Like you can only flip and land with your body weight, spinning, jumping hard. So many times you're like every little pound is a chip on the cartilage. It's a little bit of pressure on your spine. And when you get tired, you get a little bit lazy. And it's a skill that I got a million times. Well, after a while, like I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little pain in my back. And like I'm feeling it in my heels now. And like I'm getting pissed.
Well, especially if you're rippling the skill, like you have time to think about the pains of how you just landed that.
Yeah, it's worse.
And like we did ours on concrete. Like the very next day after tryouts, you're doing on concrete, so it's even worse than any surface.
Yeah.
So it was really rough.
And I mean, honestly, doing it on the concrete is not even the worst part about it. Like it does suck, but like when you go to games. You got the asphalt. Like it's not an uncommon thing. So like this is not like abuse or anything.
No,
you know, like
it's
like
legal.
we're talking about concrete. Like this is normal, but like you don't want to go to the football game and throw 50 standing tucks in front of the people. Like that's not the goal ever.
Well, you don't want to land on your face in front of the people either.
Yeah.
But no, it's you can do standing tucks on asphalt. This
is not uncommon, but like the problem is that it got to a situation where it becomes a problem because one individual
didn't do their job.
Yes, and it's so important because it's like you said, there are going to be times when like you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're in the trenches. These are your people, and these are probably your people more so than they will be a lot of other places because you ain't got nothing to do but be around each other and depend on each other. And you're a part of a big program with a big history and a big lineage, and you don't. I mean, I've heard people say this all the time. Like my kids did not have any of the history of this. I don't want to be the team that doesn't do it. I hear that all the time. And I imagine when you're at a place that like brags about being like 48 million time national champion, you don't want to be the one that's not, you know, and that's a big thing. And like people take that very seriously. Cause like I said, there are people that are there they're just hunting the title and they're not getting anything. They're not getting paid or they're getting paid so minusculely small. Because Morehead is not a place that pays people well. And it's because they don't have the funding. I mean, they used to at times have the funding. And there were some people that have gotten good money. It's not like it doesn't happen. But now the program's so big. There's so many more people. There's so many more people that need money. And it comes down to like, there are people that will come there for nothing.
Yeah.
And like I had a Division I coach tell me, I won't say who on the video, but I will tell you directly after. But we had a kid go in there and like, okay, what kind of scholarships they give out? This is Division 1A, team that has won nationals in the D1A division. And they said, we only give out $500. And they're like, why? Because like, I mean, next to their football program, this is the most profitable sport in the whole program. There are people that will come here for nothing, just to be on the team, just to have the letters on their chest, just because this is what they've always wanted. There are people that do it for nothing, and you can't beat that, buddy. That's hard to beat. When you got people that want to be there, and I've talked about this a lot, like when you have people that want to be there for nothing, just because they love it, it's hard to beat people like that.
Yeah.
And those people are crazy. And there's a lot of crazy people out there. Like we are insane. Yeah, all of us. Like you have to be. You can't do the things that we do and not be crazy.
Yeah, there's a little bit of insanity in there.
Well, you used to always say like, I mean, after 10 years of this, it's over. You're mentally fried. You're broken, and you're just you know everything that you're supposed to know. You figure out this is the same situation I went through. It's just a different skill, or it's the same environment, just a different team. It's all the same thing basically. It's just I got to figure out what the twist is. But like and you get mad, and you're like, I'll figure it out, even though like there's no hope. You have no idea what you're doing. But like you've gotten to the point, like, I've beaten everything else. I'm going to beat this too, and like you get that craziness starts. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Like, but that's part of that. So now the rest of your practice is generally, I'm going to go out here on an assumptive base because I've done this with everybody else. I would imagine there was a pretty big emphasis on your basic skills probably in the beginning, because a lot of that is getting used to everybody and That's pretty much it. Like, who's going to be able to work with who? We've got a lot of people. You try it out with this person, but like, that's great. Like, this is really, we're going to find out who can do this with everybody.
Yeah.
And the basics are obviously, because like without the basics, you can't do anything.
Yep.
And I'm going to talk about that more in the future episode, because skill level in high school is getting to a point where like you can't really adequately teach guys certain skills, and then they're getting to college and having to learn basics when they can do a backhand spring up QP, but he can't do a toss lip.
Yeah.
That's a real thing that's happening.
I 100%
like,
believe it.
But like that's the thing, is like a lot of work on your basics, which is toss extension, toss lib, toss stretch, toss QP, probably a low to high, full up.
Yeah, it was around the world.
Yep.
They played a certain song, and as soon as that song was on, you were like, all right. And was rippled.
How long would you do that for?
The whole practice, basically. Like, you honestly, the practice after, like, I don't remember throwing an elite skill. Like, it was just doing around the world. Yeah. You would do around the world, and you would start with one partner, and then once you were done, you would move down the line, and you would go to each guy.
And how many, it is probably hard for you to remember, how many people do you think you had on the team? Like, how many guys do you think you went through?
I don't even remember.
Because y'all had a lot. I remember
there
that.
Was there was a lot. There was definitely a lot.
Because y'all looked, I think at camp y'all looked like y'all had like 12 groups. It was a big number.
I would
have to. It was a big number. Oh, because for every girl there was a guy. I remember the pictures.
For every girl there was a guy.
First time seeing you in the uniform. I remember you guys wore the white uniform. So I remember that. You guys had the
I almost didn't even make it to camp my first year.
So let's talk about that. Because we talk about the basics. You come home for a little bit.
Yep.
You have your summer challenges and workouts.
Yes. So they sent out a workout each week, and you had to run a mile, and you had to send in your mile time, because you have Hell Week in the summer. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, things start to blur together after a certain amount of time. But I'm pretty sure they kind of changed it now to where there's like 2 Hell Weeks, if I'm remembering like my last couple years there. But my freshman year, you do all these workouts. You have to send them into the vets. If you don't do your workouts, you get punished. Like, you got to do, like, an extra workout or, like, do something extra whenever you get back to Morehead.
Yeah.
And they'll tally, and they're checking off who's doing what. Yeah. And then they'll send it to the coach. They'll be like, so-and-so is not doing this or whatever. So you get back for Hell Week, which is the week before you go to camp. And it is accurately named.
Yeah.
Because you are in the dead of the summer, like in July, the hottest times. And at Morehead, like, we were in this small little gym. They get a whole new space now, but when we were there, it was just the practice space, which had like no air conditioning. We had 2 industrial fans. That was the most amount of air that we got.
It's really a nicer version of the dungeon.
Well,
it's a dungeon with walls. That's literally the only difference.
Yeah,
it's
with walls and our banners.
It's very identical.
And it had mirrors.
But it's iconic too. Like, people are like excited to get to practice.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's like, when I go back and visit, it's like I don't care about anything else. I just want to be in the practice room. Yeah. That's literally the place that I want to go. But you're literally doing your Around the World or your Miracle, which is what all girls around the world is.
Yeah, I had to do that.
Yeah, so you're just doing that over and over and over again. You're just doing your basic skills over and over and over again. But again, you're like switching groups and switching people around, and some people, like, this person's not working here, we've got to find a place for them. And you're trying to figure out who you're going to take to camp, because there are so many, not everybody can go. You can't take everybody. There wasn't enough space on the bus to take everybody. Because co-ed and all girl was on one bus.
Yeah.
So it was like cramped. But my first year, you have to get your physical. And during my physical, they found that I had a heart murmur, which had never been caught ever. And obviously I'm perfectly fine now. But they were like, well, since this wasn't caught in a previous physical, like, we can't clear you. So a good portion of my first year's Hell Week, like, I didn't get to participate. I did, like, maybe the first day before we went and got our went to their doctor to get the physical. But then I had to sit out for the rest of it. And, like, obviously I freaking cried like a baby, because I was like, this is my first year and I'm already being put out. Like, I'm not going to make it on this in this program if, like, I can't even make it to camp. But they finally cleared me like the night before we left. And I went in and I stunted, I think it was with Ian, because Ian was my stunt partner at camp.
Yeah.
And so I went in and stunted with Ian, and he was like, oh yeah, she's good. So then they were like, all right, fine, we'll take her to camp. And so I got to go to camp, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to camp. And it was the craziest thing in the world.
We don't have to go into details. We just somebody else did not get to go to camp.
Yes.
So we don't have to say who or why, but we're just going to point that out that, like, not a bad thing, but, like, you did miss a chunk of the week, and you're still getting to go. And that's the reality of the situation, because for a lot of different reasons, you know, for whatever reason, they decided that you should go over this girl, or, you know, I mean, there were other girls that didn't get to go, obviously, and it's a hard thing to do. And obviously it probably does not make you a super popular person amongst people, but it's also part of business, and people forget that. And like I've said before, everybody wants to see you succeed. Nobody wants to see you succeed off
Above
of them.
Yeah.
Like I want you to have the world, but if it means I don't, then hey, and I want it, then, you know, people get a little moody about it. It's not really, you know, it's hard to separate the personal things sometimes, and I you know, we'll get to that, because you're going to, obviously, you get stuff like and this is high intensity all the time. This is, you know, one of the programs, obviously, like, you look at it as a whole, between everything that they've done across cheerleading, super prestigious, and there are people that just want to be there.
Yeah.
And there are people that want to be the faces and the stars of the biggest programs. They want that. Like, they want everything that comes with that. The people that really don't want it are the ones that get it.
Yeah.
There are people that are like, I'm not thinking about this. I just want to be the best.
Yeah, and
like, I'm hungry for it. Like,
I was never a person to like chase the fame.
Yeah.
And I kind of touched up on this earlier. Like, I never thought anybody was ever watching me. Mm-hmm. Like, I never thought of myself as being an idol for somebody else. The way I idolized Morehead cheerleaders, I never thought like anybody looked at me that way. So I never did any of it because I was like, oh, I want to be looked at. I just went in, and I just wanted to do the impossible things that I see other people doing. I wanted to be able to do it and more. Yeah. I wanted to see how far I could go and how good I could do it. My first year, I didn't really get to participate a whole lot in Hell Week. I did my next 4 years because
made up for it.
Definitely made up for it. I went an extra year to make up for that.
Now, you guys went to Tuscaloosa, right? You was at Bama.
Yeah, my freshman year, yes.
Did you enjoy camp? We won't get into all the details of camp because, I mean, it's pretty simple for the most part. What you think you would go to camp for is what you go to camp for.
Yeah, you have your
it's really
sessions.
Just, I mean, me and Brandon probably said it best. It's the first chance that you really get to know who your team is.
And I am so thankful that I did get to go my freshman year, because you just went through all of this crap, and it really feels like crap in the moment. You're like, I just did suicides. I just pushed mats. I just stunted until I couldn't stun anymore. Like, you just did all this. Now, again, my freshman year, I was kind of a little more fresh going to camp than my other teammates.
But your other years, you would know.
But the other years, like, you were broken before you go to camp. But in that, you really, like, you bond so closely. So you get to have all these little extra moments and, like, team bonding. And you really, like, you become a family. Yeah. Amongst, like, the toughest conditions.
Trauma bonding.
Yep.
So yeah, so we, like I said, we won't go a whole lot into the camp stuff just because, I mean, it is what you would think it would be. Like I said, you're one days you're going to work on cheers, one days you're going to work on, like, the floor cheer. That's what I call it, where it's basically like something you put in a cheer, like you do like at a timeout of a basketball game or a football game. You take the floor and, like, yeah, we did them at games. Yeah. It's very traditional type of sense, but, like, you have to get your bid to go to nationals. This is how they do it, because taping is gone. God bless you. You're
Thankfully,
fortunate.
I never did taping.
I got the last year of it. So that was a character building moment. But that used to be, that's how they got the bid. Yeah. But obviously you do that, and then you come home. I'm assuming that you continue to do workouts and stuff through that time.
Yeah. You get, like, 2 more weeks at home, because I think camp is like the last week of July. So you get like a week or two to like go home, get the rest of your stuff together. And then at Morehead for your freshman year, you absolutely have to live in a dorm unless you're like within a certain mile radius of living.
60 miles or something like that.
So yeah, you get ready and you move into your dorm and you do the thing.
Did you live with everybody that you lived with is a teammate, correct?
Yes.
Were y'all all freshmen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my freshman year.
They give you all the crummy freshman dorms? Is that what happens?
They weren't the crummiest on campus. I will say there were crummier, but they weren't the freshest either. Which
literally, I stayed in your dorm one night, and this was not your freshman year. In fact, I stayed in your dorm one night, and like, I literally would describe it as like, it had very much 1940s Germany barracks feel to it. Like the radiator that was sitting in there to heat the hallway was so ancient. I think it predates World War II.
But like I said, it wasn't the crummiest. I was living in luxury compared to some others, and that was because we were on the cheer team. Yeah. We got to all the cheerleaders were in one dorm. Yeah. And you picked who your roommates were based on the cheerleaders, like our group chat. Like you got to pick who you wanted to room with.
But we're gonna speed through a little bit of this first year because you did not compete this first year, and I do want to talk about that. Before we get there, just kind of like it's your first time in college on your own, and the schedule's probably just go all the time. You've got something going on all the time.
Yeah.
What would be up until like comp season or getting ready for comp? How would you describe a normal layout? Like what kind of stuff what are y'all doing at practices? Is it towards game day stuff? Is it towards potential routine stuff? Are you guys still trying to get familiar with each other? What does that kind of look like as you're coming back to school, and how often are you practicing? You know,
make your classes like earlier in the day, or just you work your classes around your practice schedule, which is usually 2 to 3 times a week. During practice, it's the first half of it is going over your basics again. You do around the world. That's like your warm up, really. And then it goes into like working on elite skills and working on pyramids. Now, me as a freshman, it was learning a lot of the elite skills. Like, I'd not done any of them. Like I said, when I came in, the most elite I had done was the hand-to-hand and the round-off rewind. So it was just kind of learning, like, the back handspring ups and, you know, all the other elite skills at the time. And then pyramids. I had never been in a collegiate pyramid ever before. Yeah. And so you have on Coed, you have the shoulder stand, which is the guy, and then you'll have your mid-layer and your tippy. So I was kind of going back and forth between mid-layer and tippying, figuring out which one was best for me. By the end of the year, I pretty much found, like, I am best fit as a mid-layer. Like, tippying is not... I'm kind of tall as it is compared to, like, most of your average cheerleaders.
We'll talk this because we've about wrapped your first year up, and we're going to get to... But, like, I want to look at some things. What did you feel like from high school to college was one of the most challenging things for you?
I think one of the hardest parts is you go through however many years with whatever program you were in. For me, it was high school, so I did 4 years in high school, and by my senior year, like, I was on the top, and I was the best on that team, the best top girl on that team, because I'd been there for so long. And then you go into this new program where it's a whole new world, and there's so many people better than you because their skill level or their experience or how long they've been there, whatever it is. But you go and now you're back on the bottom. And so it's really hard. You really are humbled by like how much you have to like catch up. So starting a program like Morehead as a freshman, you constantly feel like you're in a race to catch up because a lot of people transfer there, and so they've already had the experience and things like that. So it really finding my place in the program where I fit in, where I belonged, but also having to put in so much extra time to try to catch up with everybody else who's putting in the same amount of extra time I'm putting in. So it's like they're light years ahead, and they're also putting in all this extra time outside of practice. So like I've got to come in double and like try to reach to the top again.
Yeah. And now you say that like extra time. How often do you think that you're in the gym outside of what's required for you to be in the gym?
Every single day for at least 2 hours. So it's like an extra practice, even on practice days. Like the luxury of being in a very small town where you climb a rock, swim in a lake, or go to B-dubs is the next, or the best thing is you just go to the practice room and you're just there. So I think I was in that practice room every single day, at least 2 hours. And then on practice days, it was like I was pulling a double.
Now, would you guys all go together? Would you go at separate times? Were there certain people that you liked going with? Is it how? Because as a freshman, it's like how's it go? Like, do you have to get invited? Do you like, or do you just show up when people say they're going to be there? How does that kind of work?
So that kind of plays a role in like what was hard as a freshman, because you have to like make friends. It was never really that you had to be invited. I mean, it was always cool if somebody asked if you wanted to stunt, but it was, you go in with who you're going to stunt with. And when you go in, there's probably going to be like 15 other people there stunting. But it was never like invite only or whatever. It was just, you asked somebody to stunt or somebody asked you to stunt. You go in, do what you're going to do, hang out. Maybe if somebody else is there, then you stunt with somebody else that's there at the same time.
Your first year, you don't make the mat. When did you find that out? What did you think? Did you feel, were you expecting it with being a freshman? Did you think that you had a chance? You know, kind of what are you going? And this is also the first time that you've been doing cheerleading, at least, not even just this level. I mean, you know, when you were at Graves, you were on the floor all 4 years.
Yeah.
And like now, your first time here, you've already talked about all this other stuff, and now you're also not on the mat. Were you surprised by it, shocked by it? How'd you feel, and what did you get from that?
Yeah. So we call it D-Day. It's the day that he picks Matt, and so we go to this staircase, and he lets you know who's on Matt. I was not expecting to compete my freshman year, but I think that they did a really good job with like letting you try the skill. It really was who went in extra to perfect the skill. So it was like you only got so many tries in practice because there's so many people, everybody's trying to fight for a spot. So it really was who went in outside of practice, and like then you go into practice the next day and you hit the skill to the top and consistently, and you've got a fighting chance. So it was never like I didn't think that I couldn't make it, but I also was like, I'm a freshman, so like if I don't make it, I understand. I wasn't upset. I think it was hard to like, as a freshman, it was hard to find your place.
Yeah.
Because these people already had their connections and things like that. I was really supportive though, because like I said, I was not expecting to compete my freshman year. But I do remember, like, I was traveling in the car and I was watching their routines when they were competing, and both co-ed and all-girl won that year, and I was like, I was so pumped, I was so excited. But yeah,
Yeah. No. And then, now, obviously, even though you're not on the mat, you still have to be there for all the practices and stuff like that, right?
So
you're still there through all the national stuff.
If you
didn't go to national, like, the suffering.
No, so if you didn't make mat or alternate, you didn't have to stay for 2 days. You got to go home.
Okay.
So my freshman year, I got to have my whole winter break, which is I was
a rarity.
Yeah, it's a very big rarity. I did not get
Normally
it. Normally
they keep bodies around for pyramids,
and they
to catch people.
Normally they do, but I didn't make alternate or anything that year.
Okay.
Which
you didn't have to be a cushion.
It was so hard because we had so many transfers that came in and so many people that had so much more experience, like being in a college nationals atmosphere. So they didn't need me my freshman year at all. But I kind of expected it.
Yeah.
Based on the way practices were going, so I wasn't shocked.
And you too, like, I mean, this is what, was this Mark's third year there? Fourth year? I couldn't tell you. But I know, which they had lost the first 2 years he was there.
Yeah.
And I knew that was the reason why I remember, because it wasn't that often that they lost back to back. And I hate to say it like that, but they obviously turned that ship around and doing fine. You know, not an issue or anything like that. But that's what I remember. So usually I go to like, where's the spot where they lost twice in a row? Like, okay, that's. He would think that that's such a shitty way to remember him.
Yeah.
But that's what you get, buddy. I'm gonna clip that anyway. So. Did you ever get to cheer any cool games your first year? Like, I mean, you did like...
I did the OVC tournament, and that was like super big because it's actually like it's on the TV and everything. It's broadcasted. Morehead's not really known for...
Well, some years they got into the NCAA tournament and had some decent runs.
Yeah.
Did that ever happen while you were there? Did they ever make the NCAA tournament? Because there was one year, the year that they had Kenneth Fareed, he ended up going to play in the NBA. But I can't remember exactly when that was. But they one year they beat Louisville in like the opening round, stuff like that. This was around your time, but I can't remember the exact specifics of the years. Like
remember.
Morehead's made some things. I mean, they beat Vanderbilt one year when I was in high school. Like, I mean, they have some moments. And that's usually where people are like, that's like the first time they hear about Morehead, like the NCAA tournament. Like, oh, who's this team for the OVC? Like, they usually upset one person every year. Sometimes they do decent and get a couple. It's
I know that my freshman year basketball had done really well. I cannot remember for the life of me like how far they had gotten, but I knew that our men's basketball team did really well that year. Yeah. And then we got into the OVC tournament, and I got to cheer that with veterans. So it was really cool. It was like I didn't get to compete, but like I did get to do the other big things. We always had like appearances that we had to make, and so I was one of the people that was always asked to like be at the appearances. We had parades that we had to do, so it was really cool. The homecoming was always really fun. I cheered the OVC game, so that was really cool.
When you look back at your first year, who do you think helped you the most?
When I first got to Morehead, we got to pick our roommates, and I picked my roommates without seeing faces. It was just, hey, we need a roommate. Okay, cool. And so Erin Staley, she's now married, but that was her maiden name. She ended up my roommate, and I am brunette, and she is blonde. So when we made the team, it was really cool because then we ended up little mini Carly and Morgan. And Carly and Morgan were like the vets. They were fourth years, I believe, at the time. And it was like their final year there. But put in a message who you want your big to be. And not that it always will be, but like you kind of like put out there a top 3 people that you would want your big to be. Because they did bigs and littles. And it was super, super cool. Because as a freshman, you're like super scared and you don't know anything really about like what's going to happen or anything. And so Carly and Morgan were super, everybody loved them. Like they were goofballs. They're still like so close of best friends. And like the little mini routines that they would do is like iconic. So they're just like iconic people themselves. Me and Erin mirror images of them. So they were the vets and then we were the little freshmen them. And so they looked back and they're like, oh my, like they took us in under their wings. And really Carly helped me with so much. Like something went wrong. I went to Carly. Carly was my big. And Morgan was Erin's big. Carly was the brunette, Morgan was the blonde. I was the brunette with Carly, and Erin was the blonde with Morgan. And so it was just like this little fun thing that we had. But Erin definitely saved me my freshman year. Like, we were best friends. We were 2 peas in a pod. We would call each other Blair and Serena from Gossip Girl. I actually have a picture, my name tag for one of the clinics. I had Blair and she had Serena. And then we would go to Starbucks and we would tell them our names were Blair and Serena. So Erin, Carly, and Morgan made my freshman year. And then Bree also. Because she was mine and Erin's roommate. That was like my people.
Is that the one that married Brandon? Bree?
Yep.
Small world, right?
Such a small world.
They have kids now, don't they?
They do.
Oh, that's crazy. And they did get married.
Yep.
That's good. I'm happy for them. If they're happy. If they're not, well, fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
Getting clipped too. So, okay. So now, we'll have the conversation of you make the decision going into your second year to switch to all girl.
Mm-hmm.
How does that come about? Because you have been all 4 years of your Graves, you're co-ed. First year at Morehead, you're on co-ed. I don't think that you have any significant all-girl experience beyond probably doing preps and extensions in middle school. Very limited.
Yeah.
So why do you change?
It was an open gym. There was an all-girl group. And they said, hey, Abby, come try a back handspring up. And I did it. And they were like, oh, my gosh, this is like meant to be. You're a natural at all girl. Like, it hit the top first try. No struggle whatsoever. And so then I had a conversation with Mark. And he told me that it was going to be really hard for me to make Matt and to compete co-ed because there were so many transfers that did come in all the time with more experience than I had ever had. And then at the same time, he didn't have any returning top girls on all girl. And so he wanted asked for the experience, and also like he knew my potential to be able to compete. I think that's what I'm gonna choose to believe. So I ended up stunning with that group, and they made me feel like I was a rock star, and I was like, all right, well, I want to compete, so I guess I'll make the switch. And switching from co-ed to all girl was actually a lot easier because like on co-ed it's just you and one other person, and so as the top girl you have to squeeze and be so tight and do all of these things and make the stunt hit. Sometimes like I was told I levitated on air sometimes the way I'd make it hit. But I just did that on all girl, and it was like they thought it was the easiest thing in the world. Like they lifted me like it was nothing because I was able to transfer my co-ed skills to all girl, and they were like, this is so easy. So I was like, okay, well, it shouldn't be that hard then.
And obviously that's kind of where you go for the rest of your time there is primarily with all girl.
Yep.
So what do you think are some differences between the two?
The co-ed side, the girls that you're up against, like you're all fighting for the same spot. And on all girl, it's like, okay, I'm not fighting for the main base spot because I'm a top girl. As far as like skill wise, being a top girl on both, it's not very different. Switching co-ed to all girl is like, I would say, fairly easy. It's really, you still got to squeeze the same way. You block the same way. The only difference would be like in your flipping skills, you might have to like go a little bit more back so you can get over your back spot rather than like the guy's gonna rock you over. You're gonna stay in the same place. But as far as like the way that I would squeeze or the way that I would spin in like a full up, like that was all the same. Now, what I will say, to my fault, I wish I would have done a whole lot more co-ed stunning. I wish I would have kept up with that throughout my all-girl years. I just never thought I'd ever go back to co-ed. Co-ed stunning is so easy to transfer to all-girl, but if you only do all-girl, you kind of create habits that would be considered bad habits if you go back to co-ed. Like the way you spin, instead of spinning like all in the center, you kind of replace one hip with the other, and so it kind of like makes you go a little sideways on co-ed where it wouldn't all girl, or you have somebody that can keep you in place. And then it's a little bit easier, like co-ed, it's just you and one other person trying to figure it out, but on all girl, it's you standing on three people that have to get it together, like they have to be on the same time. So look, timing was always super, super big for all girl.
Well, too, that's one of the reasons why pyramids used to be worth so much more back in the day, even when the pyramid stuff was simple, because the more people you have involved is the more responsibility that anybody has. And like obviously it's hard to get the more people you have. And that's always been, I think that's honestly, when I look at it, I think that's one of the reasons why the all girl teams had always kind of been more behind the guys for a long time until, the last several years have been, it's a different story, but like one of the reasons why is you got to communicate with more people. I always feel like one of the hardest things that it came to when teaching people is like, you got to know when to tell someone that they're doing something wrong, and when you're doing something wrong, you got to be able to accept it. Because I feel like a lot of people they don't want to critique someone else sometimes. They're like, oh, I'll fix this. I'll do this differently. Well, sometimes that person has to do something differently. You can't make And obviously, when you get more people, and this goes into like, you're the best program with the best people, like, some people are not going to think they did some stuff wrong. Some people are going to be open to doing whatever it's got to do to hit. It's just, you have to be very selfless, but like at the same time, you have to be realistic about like, I'm gonna do what I can, but like everybody has to do what's right. Like the more people you get in that, it's just harder.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you always run the risk of one person losing their laps. Like, well, if one person loses it in this, like all four of us are gonna mess up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, you can recover, you can say, but like I always just felt like that's the hardest thing is like you got to know when you're right and when you're wrong, when you need to make changes, and when like I can't just do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I can't just like I'll just make this work. Like you can't, you there has to be more communication.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Like I said, in Coed, I was able to maybe stand on my big toe and be able to stand on a poopy grip, but then on all girl, it was like if the side base is lower than the main base, like there's no way that I could stand on my main base and like levitate.
Well, too, like just what you're talking about, like, oh, I can stand on my toe a little bit and just make this work. If you do that in all girl with a back spot anchoring your ankle, trying to keep you flat, and she's lifting you up. Like if you're already towing and she lifts you up more, you're diving off the front.
Yeah.
Or if she buckles you, tries to harness you down, and shifts your weight into an area where you're not supported, it's a whole nother, like you can't get away with that thing without those people have to do something differently from what the co-ed groups have to do, because you can't save stunts. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's like, it's impressive when all girl groups save stuff because of how quickly that many people get on the same page, because it is insane. Like, and it's so quick. Like I've seen girls like she's falling a little bit towards her side and like immediately she drops her butt, and then like, but it's like both of them are doing it together. It's like a way, and I've seen some incredible saves in all girl, and it's, I always feel like it would be harder. I just always felt that way. Like as a whole, like to manage it, because it's the more, like I said, it always comes down to the more people you have involved. And like, I've also done stuff like the multi-base stunning. Like you can't necessarily just go as hard as you want to on some stuff. Like there has to be a level. Like I can sit there and just chunk a top girl and it's probably going to be okay. You get 3 people together and you try to do that, it's not always like, you have to control and place and like
balance between everybody.
There really is, like there's a lot of finesse, and I know it's different because there's a strength issue, but like I've seen some of those girls at Morehead. You get a couple of them together in a back alley, and like I would be in trouble in a fight. You know, like the wrong way. There was that one girl. She used to like roll her sleeves up. She was a top girl, and like she was just yoked. I can't remember, man. This was before you were there. Like her biceps, like they were bigger than mine, like defined and ripped and cut.
It's because the top girls have the same workout as the bases. Let me tell you, our 6 a.m. workouts, I was squatting 200 pounds. I only weighed 117 pounds.
These girls were animals. I've seen a few of them, and like, man, the back spots aren't afraid. Like, too, like, I wouldn't say bigger girls. Their frame is built to be bigger. Like, they're tall.
Yeah.
Their shoulders are broad. Like, they're built to be strong. Like, Vikings. And, like, they stand up and they own it. Like, there's a lot of people that are tall that will just back down and shrink from it. Those ladies don't do that. And, like, it's the fierceness and the presence. Like, it's intimidating.
Absolutely. That's literally, it's like the Morehead way. Like, your chin's up. And it's not in, like, a cocky, stuck-up nose.
No.
Your nose is not stuck up. Like, you puff your chest out. Like, you're proud to have Morehead on your chest. And you're showing it. And absolutely.
It's so overlooked how much body language is important. And that's one of the reasons, like, you always hold your head, but you always act unfazed by whatever's going on. And it does matter. Like, you can tell those difference. Like, that's a performative quality. But, like, when you can do it outside, like I said, it does. It sets the tone. Like, these people they're serious. They're uplift. Like, they look positive about what they're going to do. Everything about it says, watch me. And, like, I always feel like y'all's group is really good at that. All of them. All the time. Like, even the ones that are scared and nervous and unsure, like, you still see people that look like, I'm worth watching, and I'm going to show you why.
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
Anybody who ever commented on the way I performed, I assure you, on the inside, I was terrified, but you would never have known. At 2-a-day practices, our national practices, I had one of my teammates, and she was, like, panicking hardcore. And she's like, are you not nervous? Are you not about to poop yourself? And I just looked at her and I said, It's going to be fine. Now, internally, I was screaming, and she looked at me and she goes, I don't like how calm you are. And I was like, it's fine.
Can I tell you a funny story? Do you remember Ella, the little autistic girl that we had? I don't know if she's really autistic. I'm going to clip that part. But our first time, remember, she was a nervous wreck, would like tremble when we first got her into the gym. She was like terrified, and I was like, this is not going to work out. I was like, if she's scared to do a toss hands with me, like she's trembling when I go to touch her, I'm like, this is not going to work out.
Oh my god.
We kept her anyway, and then the next year she's on the floor, and she's with Big E, and like this is her first time competing in person. We're at regionals, and they were in the back, and they were getting ready to go. It's her first time performing in front of a crowd, and she turns around to Big E, and she's trembling, and she's like, I can't do this. And Biggie, this is his first time being prominently featured, and he was like, "What? What?"
I can picture it.
I wish I had the face. It's the face. It's the face that he was making, like that flabbergasted look. His mouth is like a fish moving, but nothing can come out. And he said, "What?" And he said, that's all. That's it. He's like, that was it. And then they told us to come on the floor. He's like, I didn't even have time. Like, all I got to say out was what? And we had to go out on the floor. And he's like, I hope to God she went out there. He was like, when I went to that stunt, he's like, I didn't know if she'd be there. I just didn't know. And like, she looked terrified, gosh. Man. When they went up to that stunt, she looked scared. Like she grew out of that so much, but she was just so weird. Like I'll never forget his face when she said that to him. Like I can't do this. And he was the one person we were probably the most scared about of making mistakes out there too. And we're depending on him to be the big boy right now. And like he did it. But like, yeah, man, I've seen some the year after you, Bree's brother, Hunter. Mm-hmm. When we were going to finals, we had just finished the warm-up, and I was like, you ready? You doing good? And he turned and looked at me, and I have never seen pupils so big in my life. That was the first time I ever looked at somebody, and, like, I knew they were afraid by the look in their eyes. And I'm like, oh, my God, we are about to bomb. We're not going to, but I was like, when I got done looking at him, I had no confidence that this was getting ready to go good. I was like, this is the most terrified I've ever seen somebody looked in their life. He looked pale and weak and just frightened. Like, I'm glad that he went out there and he delivered and he hit all of his stuff. Cause like, I'm telling you something, 5 minutes prior to that, I'd have told you, I'd have bet the house that everything was coming down. Like, it was like, oh, let's talk about Bree for a second before we get to this. Just so I have it to clip in the podcast. So we're just talking about this. So this is a random story. This is going to be on the Sunday Funnies for sure. We talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it back up again because it's just too good. So we had a girl, her first year on the team, I think she had to leave because she got pregnant as a freshman. Mm-hmm. And then she wasn't there her sophomore year, obviously. And then she came back her junior year. And she's on the floor, and she had worked real hard to get all of her tumbling and stuff that we needed, that we were require the girls to have. And about a few weeks out from nationals, one of the coaches pulls me over and is like, "Hey, does she look like she's pregnant?" And I was like, I remember like, you can't say that. Like we can't have that conversation. He's like, no, just look at, and this is the only time I've ever had a conversation about somebody's weight before, and it was specifically for this point. And I was looking at her, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I don't know. It wasn't that she had put on weight. It's where she had put on the weight. And I was like, that looks like a cradle. And so obviously, I call her mom, and we're like, concerned. It was just a concern issue, which is really awkward for when you have three male coaches to call you and be like, hey, we don't know. We feel a little uncomfortable by it. And they swore up and down that she wasn't. So it's like, okay, well, you got to have your standing tuck. And they're like, go make sure she has her standing tuck. So I just had her throw them, and she's busting, like not landing on her feet, like landing on her knees. And I'm like, if you don't think you can do it, you don't do it. But she just kept throwing them. So I was like, okay, well, I admire her heart. And obviously we took it out. We get down to nationals. We perform. We come home. And it was that week that she gives birth to her second child. who had gotten, I mean, it's horrible that I'm laughing at this because, like, she didn't tell her mom. I don't know. She had to know. There's no way she didn't know. But this baby was full term. This was not a preemie. This was a full term, 10 months, like the full pregnancy. When this kid was not underdeveloped at all, other than, she hadn't been doing anything to take care of it. But the whole family was oblivious to the fact that she was pregnant. So technically that year, we competed 26 people, and we actually are rule breakers. But yeah, that was probably like, that's the only conversation I've ever had about somebody's weight before. But it's crazy that happened.
Yeah.
And then I just talked about her little brother came out and like fulfilled all the dreams that she couldn't. He did.
Oh, no.
It didn't work out. Dude, I wonder all the time if that kid's okay.
I hope he's okay.
I hope so. I do. I feel so terrible about it because I was like, oh my God, I made her do all those standing tucks. Because we had known there's no way that would not have happened.
She had a solid tuck. She had her tuck before I did.
Yeah.
She, as far as I knew, like, she'd been to tumbling and had, like, whatever tumbling skills she needed. Like, she had all of it.
Yeah, she had all of her stuff. And then, like I said, it was just, like, right before nationals. Like, that baby, I guess, was a little too heavy or whatever. Too heavy. I mean, like, if you had seen her, you would have thought she was early stages. Like, you'd have never known that she was that far along, ever. Yeah. Even if you were able to guess it, like we were. You'd have never known. Like, I would have thought, maybe early second trimester at best, not full term. So, yeah, that's us. We did that, so. Okay, so we'll get back to our original story. I will clip that and put that on the pod. That will be there for the Sunday Funnies. So obviously you're involved in a lot more. You go to camp this time and you get the full course meal.
Hell week and all.
And is it the full 7 days? Because we would come in on a week from whatever day the camp started. And we would do like a full week together, weekends included. And then as soon as that was over, the last day of Hell Week, the next day we would travel to wherever the camp was. We wouldn't really do anything that day, but we were traveling forever. We would travel ride in the bus. Yeah, ride in the bus, travel through the night, get to the hotel, and then the next day is 3 camp days. And like camp's fun, but camp's hard.
Camp is so hard. Well, I mean, you're so worn out from the week. And yes, we did the full week. And like the day you get back for Hell Week, like that morning, because you're supposed to have been running your mile all summer, you have to come back and run your mile under 8 minutes, which is what you were supposed to have been doing all summer. Supposed to have been doing that. And so there was quite a few times I did not think I was going to make that mile. I was like, there's no way, because I'm going to tell myself here, I never ran a full mile at all any of my summers in any of my cheer career. I always paused it or like found some way to finesse the app or whatever. I never ever ran a full mile until I got back for camp for Hell Week.
Well, you told me stories of like people driving around in their cars to make it look like they ran a mile, but they were just driving in their car.
So there was a specific app you had to download. You had to track the run, and you could pause and then like walk and whatever, and it would still track your path. But then they caught on like that it was a little dot every time you would pause. So then you had to get more creative, and so people would get in their cars and drive real slow and just hope the neighbors didn't come out thinking you're creeping, and you would be in your car driving and track. That's what I said
when you told me that. I was like, why didn't people just use a scooter or a bicycle, skateboard? That would have been
people might have. I just never. I obviously 2 brain cells were not connecting there. But yeah, no, I never ran the mile until we got back for Hell Week, and then you go through Hell Week, and again, it's your basics. You're drilling like your fight song and your band chant and your cheers, and then your full ups and round off ups and whatever, like just your basics. That way, when you get to camp, you don't make a fool of yourself.
I remembered having done so many standing tucks that like we were putting biofreeze on our abs because like our core was sore. I remember like just trying to lift my arms straight up while I was standing there, like shredded my core because we'd just thrown so much tumbling and so many standing tucks over those days. Like and it was excruciating. It was the most horrible thing we ever done because we've been power raising. You get sweating.
Yeah.
And then it travels down your whole body.
Yeah.
And I had the highest tux I've ever had that day. Boy, I was on fire, man. All the guys, we were crying. I don't know who, all of us did it, all 8. And even Dalton, and Dalton doesn't even throw a tuck. And he was like, you guys, I'm hurting too. And I was like, I bet you are, you fat fuck. And so, he got it so bad. I'm going to tell, this is another one for the Sunday Funnies. This is a small camp story. I may have told you this story before. When we got there, obviously Norris is with us because he's our coach. And he suggests that we go to Popeye's Chicken that night for dinner, which we're all down for because we don't have a Popeyes in Richmond, or we didn't at the time.
Yeah.
So we go in there, and the girls don't really want to go, but we're getting buckets of chicken. All the boys, we're loading up. And now when we get back to our hotel, we have one room for 8 guys.
Oh God.
We have one bathroom, and this chicken is hitting us in a different kind of way. We are tore up bad, and we're coming to the conclusion that at some point, multiple of us are going to need to go to the bathroom at the same time, and that's not going to be an option. And we get the group text telling us where all the rooms are. It didn't tell us whose room it is, but just who all's in the room. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's 7 girls' rooms, and all together we have 8 rooms. So we have to buckle down. We have a team meeting, and we have to. Dude, we're sweating. Dalton is dying.
Oh my God.
Sweat pouring down his forehead. And we're just trying to get through this meeting, bro. And they're telling us so much stuff, and we're just now we have which girls are in which group, so we all know who we're gonna follow after this because we don't know where the rooms are. We have to follow the girls back to the rooms so we know where the bathrooms are. And we've picked out a lineup. We've addressed who we're gonna get. I was smart. I told the freshmen, and they had no clue what was getting ready to go on. The game plan was we would just go into the rooms that we were not supposed to be in, and just casually have conversation, and then sneak your way into the bathroom and just go. And then, so that way they couldn't do anything. Just get it over with. We were going to get this one shot, and we were just going to do that. Most of us were successful. Now, Clay, who was a true freshman guy, he picked the senior groups, and we had Brittany. She was 6 year because we didn't have the cutoff at the time. You could cheer forever. She was a 6 year, and she was the scariest human being I've ever met in cheerleading. He knocks on her door. She opens the door, and he goes, "What's up, Brittany?" and just runs into the bathroom and slams the door. I am in the room directly underneath him in the bathroom, and I can hear her screaming about how she's going to murder a white boy up in this bitch, and she is losing it, pounding on the door. I'm down there crying. I get out of the bathroom, and then I open my door, and there's Clay, and I was like, Brittany's chasing him. I was like, get in here, get in here, get in here. And she throws a water bottle or something. I don't know what it was, but it hits him in the back of the head and just drops him in the hallway right in front of me, right in front of the door. I grab Clay and I just drag him in to the room, and we shut the door, and I can hear Brittany over there just pounding on the door. And she's threatening the freshmen. If you don't open the door, and they're going to cave. And we have the adjoining room. So we open the adjoining room door, go into the other girl's room where we've got a guy getting yelled at for using the bathroom. We open the door to their room, go out to the main hall. Brittany's still banging on the door, and we run.
Oh my God.
And Clay can't make it. His legs are tore up, and she gets him first. And I run all the way down there to the door. I'm trying to get in my room, and I realize that I left the key card in the bathroom. And there's nothing I can do.
No.
And here comes Brittany. She beat all of our ass all day long after that holiday. We get on the bus the next morning. And Norris gets on the intercom, and he goes, "I don't know about you guys, but that Popeye's chicken tore me up last night." And we were in tears. Clay had a black eye. She punched him right in the face.
Oh my God.
So there's shenanigans all the time. Oh my goodness. There's some. Yeah, so that's...
You get to laugh about it now.
That's my famous camp story right there. That was it. My one camp... that's the one thing that I remember above all things from camp was that moment, the shenanigans. It was hard and fun, but that's... God, Dalton.
Well, there's just something about camp, you go through Hell Week, and we've been talking about, the hardest thing
Yeah.
ever, and your body's so worn down. But then you get to camp, and then it's like somehow you're a new person. Like being around all the other teams, and then just like having the fun that you have, like you forget about your pains and you go out there and like you just have fun.
It's just like, well, it's cool because like everybody's in the same boat as you are. Like everybody's been through, and like we're still having fun. We're still, like, even though we're miserable, like we're still making the most of this. And like I said, it's building the unity in your team and trusting people when you can do. And like really, like in high school, you really don't get that moment.
Yeah.
Where like, because you're getting to get out in front of a crowd, and it's a crowd of people that are gonna know what's gonna happen if you mess up, and like they know everything, and people that you're gonna compete against. School. So like you really don't get that in high school until you like are actually competing, because like you're being judged and evaluated, but like it's a small pressure situation, but like I said, it's the eyes, the environment magnify it, the name across your chest magnifies it. So like to be able to go out there and still prove like you have some little bit of certainty that like I can trust these people like when it matters, and like that's important for you yourself, your chemistry. Like when I walk out on the floor, the only thing I got to worry about is me, because I know everybody else is going to do their job.
Yep.
Like that's one of the first places you start to build that. And one of the first times where you start to like, it's your first hurdle that you overcome really as a team. I mean, it's big for the year. Like a good camp, like you may not even think about it at the time, but like it really does set the tone for, because like if you, even when you're miserable and you're tired, you're like, I can't wait till I can come back. Like, yeah, I want my couple days to rest.
I actually miss going to camp.
Yeah.
Like I have some really fond memories. I mean, it was hard, but I missed going to camp.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is an important thing. And like I said, it's a cool, anytime you're doing the traveling and the trips, like those are always the best times.
Yeah.
You know, I always say the practices are going to get you there, but like you're always going to remember when you're there. Like you can't ever, it's all a part of, and that's the stuff like when you're pushing, like that's the stuff you're going to remember and be like, you want to be a part of that. You want to have those little victories and stuff. So when you come back from camp, obviously you get your little bit of time off.
Mm-hmm.
You come back to school. Everything's as normal. Now you guys will do, you have like the homecoming and the family weekend, and that's like big for you guys. All the alumni, or probably not all of them, but there's a lot of alumni that are coming in. A lot of people that like, I mean, there's probably people that have been in that program for forever that still come.
Oh, it's even to this day, yeah.
And like, I mean, Morehead alumni are everywhere and in everything. Like, you got so many coaches, you got judges, you've got choreographers, you've got people everywhere. There's a lot of people in the know, and they're. I will say that the alumni have really high expectations too.
Yep.
And probably sometimes, I don't know if this is a true statement, because I don't understand it because I'm not there. I've not been there. I've not been a part of it. But like, do you ever feel like the alumni over expect?
So I think that the atmosphere of the alumni and like their presence has shifted. I remember my freshman year, it was like, they told me if an alumni asks you to do something, even if you don't have the skill, you better attempt it. And to me, like I never had like a full consistently. I had one at one point, not consistently. But in my head, like I was like, please, for the love of God, don't ask me to do this skill, because I will actually kill myself if I attempt that skill.
Yeah.
Because I just never had it. So my first like 2-3 years there, it was my first 3 years there, it was like you almost pooped yourself when the alumni came around, because you knew like you better look the best, you better know your facts. If they have to ask you a question, you better know exactly what the answer is. Don't look at them the wrong way. You better go and introduce yourself, but you better know who you're introducing yourself to and what years they cheered. And so it was like really intense.
Yeah.
And you were on edge the whole time. But I think it's kind of shifted more to like, we go and have fun with them and like shoot the shit, pardon my language, and like you just like talk, and it's still like, so it's always been, if an alumni calls a skill, you do it. But I think it's more now like, I just want to do it for fun, rather than it be like, I want to punish you type of a feeling.
I just want to see what you can do at this point. Like, I'm curious. I ain't seen nobody do that. Can you?
Well, yeah,
I do that all the time because I used to do that to the kids. Like, just do this. Just do toss keep. Just do this. Something all the time. And like,
yes, but like my first couple years, it was like, do this. You better do it right, and you better hit it to the top. Because if you don't, you're gonna do it again. But now, like, I went to homecoming. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was right after Morehead All Girl competed the full twisting rewinds, and I was like, I know you guys have a group that can do it. I just want to see it in person. And so before it was you better do it with your group and you better hit it to the top, and it could be somebody who had never done the skill before, but you better do it to the top. But now it's like, get the group together that can do it and let me see it pretty. Yeah. So it's a little bit more like just fun to have a lot. I don't know because I'm not on their side anymore, but I would think that it's more on the fun side to have your alumni there rather than it being like, I'm going to crap myself. Yeah. If I even look the wrong way or like they ask me a question and I don't know the answer.
So you don't like bullying people?
I don't, because I don't like being bullied. And alumni can be bullies and it's fun. And I still I'll call a toe touch or a back walkover or a front walkover. Like, I just want to have fun with it. Yeah. But I definitely, there was the bullying era. Alumni came to bully you.
Do you think that the Hazels would agree with your assessment?
I love you, Hazels. I love you so much. Look, okay.
I felt like they got to see prime Abby, and they'd be like, who's this? Like, you don't like to yell at people? You don't like to...
I never thought I would be the vet that would yell at people because I was scared of my vets, and I was scared of doing something the wrong way. But, coming in as a freshman, and then even my sophomore year, it's these are the holy idols that I've watched my entire cheer career, whatever. So it was I was so scared of everything, and they were loud and they barked and they yelled, and they got their point across. I was I would not do that to people. Yeah. I did not hold true to that. I did yell a lot.
I would say the Hazels would perfectly describe you as that, and that's how they describe you to some people.
I love you, everyone who I yelled at. Just Brandon. Know that it was out of love, especially Brandon and the Hazels. And part of it is I was taught how to motivate you guys by Burnham. So let's just...
Hey, don't put that on me. I don't know. That's probably... You weren't like that when I had you. You became like that after you came back.
I definitely did. Well, there was I was innocent little Abby, and I still was very innocent little Abby, but it was you had to become harder. You had to kind of harden up. You had to get a tough skin.
I think, too, we're saying this, and I think you understand it, and a lot of the kids there in college, why I was that way. Because it's, after you go through it, it's hard to go back. Yeah. It's it's instinctual because you get to the point where it becomes ingrained in you, if I'm going to do this, this is how I'm going to do it. Yeah. Because I have been pushed and bred to be perfect. I have been to hold myself this standard, and it's not I'm yelling at you because it's that simple, and it's a choice. And it really is if you know your technique and you understand your science and you understand what you feel, then and once you know, it's almost unacceptable for you. The more you know, the less room for error that you have. Yeah. And that's the truth of it. And that's the way, that's what it really is now. Are we always nice about that? No, but it really is, because I've always said, you have to get to that point where you're about to go crazy to understand it.
Absolutely.
To that point where you've been beaten over the head by it so many times. People just, it's a choice, it's a choice, it's a choice, it's a choice. Just do this, just do that. You hear that all the time, and it really is that. That's the truth. Is you just have to do it. But you have to know what's going on. Yeah. And you're expected to know what's going on. On top of that.
And then the other part, you go to college, and in any program that you're a part of, college is just such a different atmosphere. Yeah. I can only speak to Morehead and Memphis because that's all that I was a part of, but I can assume it's the same for everybody. it's hard and you get yelled at, but then you have like this expectation. So then when you go back to like your high school and you are looking at your high school team, like you have been in this atmosphere where you have this high expectation where things should look, and then you see you like go back to high school and you're like, this is not right. You need to fix it. And so for me, again, it's Morehead, very intense and intimidating, and you have to like toughen your skin. I promise you, if you do not have a tough skin, like you're not gonna make it there.
No.
At all. So then I remember going back to Graves County, and I was like, I was mean. John didn't want me to come back. I was mean, but that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
In college, it was like that's what I was experiencing. So then it was like, I'm seeing something wrong. It needs to be fixed. This is how I fix it.
It's hard because like it becomes so ingrained in you, and like I said, when you're doing it every day, it becomes part of your culture, and it's like it's true. Like they'll say it to you when you come to the clinic when they're talking about this place is not for everybody.
Yeah,
that's true. And it's not. It's hard to argue with it because look at the success that it's had. Is it right? Is it wrong? Yeah, that's debatable. I think when I came out and I went back to the kids, like especially over time, it evolved more and more because there were times when I tried that and I saw that it wasn't effective because like I can treat people like this. But these people didn't choose to be here. They're here because this is where they live. And that's a different thing.
Absolutely.
And not everybody on my team is going to aspire to be at a place or even attempt to do any of the things that I did. Because, we sent a lot of people at McCracken, but, not a lot of people from your time period went anywhere.
Yeah.
It was you, Megan, Tellus never competed. And that's really about the extent of it for a long time.
Yeah.
And before that, we had a few, probably 4 or 5 before you guys, but there weren't very many. Cause there was probably by the time you got there, maybe 10 people total had gone to cheering college over the course of we had 5 national championships and over the course of 6-7 years. And we just didn't send that many people out. That's just the way it was. They weren't all aspiring to be that. So when you come in with that mindset of this and that, it's just not effective for certain people. And that's what I always come down to is some people aren't like that. And I got better about that, trying to mix both. I really did get better at it. The ones that wanted to go, that I knew were going to go, I treated them that way.
Yeah.
Because they needed to learn. But I also could go back afterwards, after I've yelled at you, I can go back and have a conversation that someone else is probably not going to have with you on the collegiate level and be like, this is why I'm saying this to you. And I need you to understand this. And I got to do a lot of that. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of those boys are still in touch with me today. Cause he gets it. He understands. It's just, you got to pull back to some degree. It's different every place, but I just feel we never had those luxuries. It's not like we had feeder programs. It's not like we had 50 kids sitting on the sidelines ready to hop in. It's I had to be a little bit, and I told Brandon this. I was like, we coddle you guys so bad, and he's like, oh my god. He's like, I can't be. He's like, that's an understatement. It's as tough as we were. He always told me, it's like you can't. I was like, I'll be honest with you, I don't want to go that hard all the time. It's fucking sucks.
It's intense.
It's hard on your head because we'll talk about it more when we get to the national stuff. But some of that. If you treat every day like a fight, it's hard to pretend that you're not in one.
Oh yeah.
And that's the best way that I can say that. We'll elaborate on that more later. But we've gotten through. So you're back at school. You're going through all this stuff. You've had the alumni stuff. You've had the big performance. Now, when you guys do that performance for the family weekend, is that stuff that you guys are working on, or is it?
We literally,
is that some of the stuff that you guys maybe want to do in the routine, or is it we're just trying to put together a routine and put on a show?
It gets put together, and could be completely different now, but my times that I was there, it's literally the week of, and it incorporates everybody. So everybody's put into a group or a stunt partner or whatever, and it even incorporates the dance team. So the dance team, they'll do their little routine. They'll split off to the side. All girl will come up and do an elite, or it'll be all girl and co-ed. We'll do the same elite, and then do a basket, and then we'll do pyramids. So it's just one big performance, but it's kind of more on the would be on the basic skill for the most part, or just whatever like the basic baseline is for the team that you have at the time.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like a showcase.
Yeah, because everybody gets put into a group.
Yeah. Okay. That's not too bad. I'm going to clip here. About what time do you feel like you guys start working on skills for nationals?
Really, we're prepping for nationals like as soon as we get back from camp.
Okay.
Practice, like the first half of practice is doing Miracle or Around the World. It's doing the basic skills. But once you're done with that ripple, then it goes straight into doing like elite type skills. And then we'll start brainstorming. So on the vet side, you kind of band together with Mark and you just bounce off ideas off, like we think this step might be cool, we think this transition might be cool, let's see how many we can get. And so it really, like, honestly, it starts like really after you get back from camp. Like as soon as you're back in school and practices start, you start working on elite skills. And I mean, you would have to ask Mark the way his brain works. I don't
want to know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't know.
But it'll be like he'll plant a seed. He'll be like, I want to try this. And then all of a sudden it will go into like so many different, like it branches off into like, well, what about this?
Yeah, I can 100% get that.
And so then it's like all the way up until December, you're slowly planting little things. And then like the last portion of practice will be pyramid work. And we'll do, like there was one time we were working side semi-pyramids and
yeah.
we got rocked. The mid-layers got rocked, okay? And he's like, okay, maybe not that. It was like side semi to a shoulder sit or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
and it was like
nightmare.
knocked out. And he was like,
Yeah,
okay, maybe
like,
to the leg.
I think one of the reasons we don't see that, like, when I was Johnny, we were so limited through most of the time. And then, like, even when I was in McCracken, we opened up more of what we could do. Jennifer was always of the mindset, like, we're not going to let this is not going to go on for as long as he wants it to. Like, if it looks like there's not a chance, like, she's like, we're going to cut him off right now and, like, redirect. Like, most of the time, like, we don't leave him. Like, it's in this scenario, I can imagine it being a nightmare because he has full freedom to say when we're going to stop doing this and when we're not. Yeah. And sometimes, like, I've seen him, he'll hang on to that lucky charm way past the time that it's proven to you that you don't have the luck in it anymore. And they'd be like, oh, I'm going to change it. Like, sometimes he holds on to ideas for too long, or it's not, yeah. Or like, it's like a transition or something. It's like, it's just not worth it. Like, it's not even the meat. There's stuff.
There was one year we worked the Diamidovs, and we had like 5 groups that had Diamidovs. We worked them and worked them and worked them. And then all of a sudden he wanted, it was like a transition up to a hand-to-hand.
Yeah.
But it was like, it spun from the ground up, basically. But it wasn't the ground. It was like
it's like kind of like a prep cradle.
Yeah, it was like a prep, and then spun up, and they competed them. That was the year that I was the assistant coach. But it was like we worked one skill over and over and over and over, and then all of a sudden it was like, but I think that looks cooler. Let's try that. Or it was like, okay, we tried this for like a month, and this one group can't get it. Let's try this skill. So it really,
yeah.
You keep shaping different little things, and like you'll have like one thing that you like think that you have solid, like that's for sure going to be in the routine, but really it's not until I would say probably like the month before 2-a-days start. Yeah. So in November is like when you kind of have like a solid idea of the skills you're going to have in the routine. But even during 2-a-days, things still change.
Yeah.
So it's really...
Well, yeah, too, because like I, just last year, some of the... Because I had seen... I probably shouldn't have seen it, but I saw a video of them from like their first full out. Obviously, it got to me. I don't even remember how I got it, to be honest with you. But I remember seeing that routine, and then obviously Jacob was there, and I knew he had gotten hurt. And I reached out and talked to him when he did, and I was like... But obviously, like, people get hurt. And like, it's not like I'm not trying to be mean because he's super talented, but like he's a true freshman on the team. There's people somewhere, he's outworked somebody, but like it probably means, no offense to him, that they're a little bit lower on the guy end. Because it's not even just that he was on the floor, it's that he was prominently featured in some insanely hard stunts. Like the side sumi, he was in all that. And like, he's a freshman. You know, so like it kind of lent to me the idea we're probably a little low on the amount of guys that we have if you've got a true freshman, or you've got a lot of guys and maybe the talent's not as high all the way around.
Yeah.
So like sometimes you have stuff like that. People get hurt and like you have to put people in that just aren't at that spot.
They're just not at that level. So you have to do what that person like.
That, or you run the risk of, like in this case, he just had to get rid of one.
Yeah.
And like that severely hurt his chances.
Yeah.
'Cause like, I mean, there's no guarantee that person hits, but like you lost one stunt in each section because of it. And if you don't, like when, you get the score sheet back and you lose by 0.3 of a point, that one stunt in every section is a huge difference.
Yeah.
But sometimes that stuff happens, like you can't control it. Well, it's hard to control it. And we'll talk about it because like, so when do you find out who's going to make the mat?
Before Thanksgiving break, I believe. You go, it's a freaking staircase. You go sit at the staircase, and then he gives you the speech about, maybe it's just not your time right now, but don't give up. By the way. And then he calls the names, and you're literally, like, so you have practice right before he picks Matt. And it's your final chance to show, like, I deserve to be on Matt. I can hit the skills you're looking for.
Last call, essentially.
Yeah. And so, like, he could be trying to decide between two people. And that last practice is his deciding factor. Like, there was a couple of times that he, like, it was up to, like, two different people. And he was deciding who was on Matt and who was the alternate. Or who he was taking as an alternate and who could go home for break. And he was like, well, this person really tried really hard. Should I just take them as an alternate? And I had to be a part of that conversation with him before.
Yeah.
And so it's tough. Like that last practice, like you're almost pooping yourself the whole practice. And then you go and sit at the staircase and he starts calling names and you're like.
And I imagine that with the level of talent that you guys have, that it's also not an easy conversation sometimes. Because,
it's not.
I mean, like there's lots of factors will go into all this. Who works well with who fits good, who's got the best chemistry with each other.
Absolutely.
Those are some, who's got experience, who doesn't, who do we trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not just, you can't even look at just one skill either. Like you have to look at the routine as a whole, because like if I'm going to put this girl in, I'm going to lose this tumbling, or if I need this tumbling but she's not at this level but I need this, everything starts to become a question. Or she can hit all these stunts, but she can't mid-layer for crap. Something like that. Like there are so many different elements to what decides who and what can go where, and no matter how much talent you have, there's always an area where someone can improve. Like there's no one that's all around 100% perfect. There are people that are close.
Yeah.
But there's always somebody that you can pick apart. And it honestly, it's very rare that you have someone that you can take and like, I know no matter what the situation is, I can use this person, because you have to be dependent on other people. Like if you like, she's one of the best girls I got. Well, if you don't have any guys to stunt with her, it doesn't matter how good she is.
Yeah.
Like, she can do a backhand spring double up. Well, you ain't got anybody in your team that can do anything harder than a full up. Well, then you're screwed. It doesn't matter. And it almost doesn't matter if you use her, because the skill level's so bombed out that like, okay, I need a good basket girl. She doesn't have a basket, but she's the best top girl. But like, well, I can't use her because it's really not going to fit the scheme of what my routine. She may be the most talented, but she's not the most talented pick for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's such a hard conversation to have with people.
It really is. And it's like I said, that last practice, like you're basically fighting for your life. Mm-hmm. And I mean, going through everything you go through throughout the year, like it all boils down to this one moment. Like at the end of it all, we love Morehead, we love representing, and all these appearances that we make are awesome. But we're all there to compete. We all want to be on Matt. And so...
You didn't come for the scenery.
Yeah, it's... Well, mountains are beautiful.
I mean, if you like scenery, it's a great place. But, like... I mean, if you love hiking, I like to hike in my hobby. Great place for you. But, like, if you're looking for an outstanding night
is only good every so often.
Yeah, if you're looking... And it's not like... we haven't touched on this a lot because there's party culture, but, like... No matter where you go, like that's college culture, is to party and to get out and have fun and do things. Like that's just part of what it is.
Yeah.
Do we often find ourselves in very similar situations very often? Yes, for a lot of reasons. We are at everything. We get to meet all kinds of people. Yep. We meet all the other athletes who are going out having fun. We just get roped into it. Don't get me wrong, it's part of the lifestyle anyway. But like, when you're a cheerleader, you get to meet everybody. And when you get to meet everybody, you get invited to everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And
Yep.
at a place like this where there's nothing to do but go out in the mountains, we're going to party a whole lot. That's part of it. And I'm not going to say that it's party culture because it's really college culture. And it's it's unfair to say that, dude. Like, do we get into some really crazy stuff sometimes? Yeah. And you got people like that everywhere. And I'm sure you can attest to this. There's always some freshman who has to learn how to party the hard way. And there's also some people that will spend all their time there and never learn.
I'm just going to give this warning out because this conversation and what you just said just gave me PTSD. We had a freshman who went to a frat that they were not supposed to go to because that frat was known for like roofing people and whatever. And so some bad stuff happened. The girl ended up being okay. Everything was fine. But the whole team got punished. And we had to run hills up and down. 20 times. Do not be the freshman that makes your team run up and down a hill.
No, dude, it's scary stuff. Like being a girl is tough because like we were always under the presence. Like when practice is over, especially if it's not practice, you walk the girl. If the girl's walking, like she either needs to get in the car with you or you need to walk with her back to her dorm. That's part of it. But like the older girls are also really good about looking out for the young girls because like they're like, you don't want to go to parties at this frat house because this stuff happens. Like they're usually really good about clean, which is a really great thing for cheerleaders because obviously you get enough beautiful women around and like there are tons of beautiful women in cheerleading and there are people that fantasize about cheerleaders regardless if she looked like a whale. You know, it's a thing. Small, beautiful girls. Like that's, it happens. Like, and like people are going to want to try to take advantage of you. People are going to want to, and they're not even going to try to take advantage of you. Some people are just going to, they're just going to try, and they don't care. Or there's always going to be someone that's like, I want to see how messed up I can get somebody. You know, that's true, but that's not even just in cheerleading. Like there are people on the campus.
That is
a lot
just
of the
college.
times, that is just it. Really, one of the most popular drugs amongst athletes, it's Adderall. Mm-hmm. So you can focus on what you're doing because you're so tired from practicing all the time and doing all this stuff. Like, oh, I got a 10-page paper tonight. Well, I'm gonna crush 2 Adderall and snort them off the table or something like that. Like, not even snort them all the time. Like, but I've seen people snort them. It's crazy.
I definitely
crazy.
Witnessed it.
I used to watch
in my college days.
Well, I mean, I was there during the steroid era where everybody was massively huge and like you knew people were yoking out, and that's one of the reasons why our technique was so dog water in my era because I'm strong. I bet you're strong. You've been shooting that needle up like 15 days, like, and you'd see guys that come out there and they look like $1 million, but they have no technique and they're just relying on strength. Because like, oh, if I throw it really high, I'll figure it out. But like, that's one of the reasons, like, you get guys so yoked up they can't even bend their arms and stuff like that. They can't lock their arms out. And there were a lot of people like that. Like I used to call it the land of the giants because we're not considered a sport. Most schools won't drug test you.
Yeah.
And what's the number one thing that they're looking for? Steroids. And athletes, they, if you pop, I mean, it used to be a big deal, obviously, but like if you popped hot on like marijuana in a state that's got legalized marijuana, you're not going to get I mean, they'll frown upon it because of like the whole agreement thing, but like it's going to get to the point one day where like that's not a big deal. And I don't even care. I don't even care what you do most of the time. As long as you don't get to a point where somebody has to take care of you, where you are no longer capable of being responsible for yourself and you ruin everybody else's time, that's when it's a problem. But that happens all the time. Usually really bad in the beginning. Typically, people calm down.
Freshmen being out on their own for the first time, it definitely is a thing. Because you get to go out. You don't have anybody telling you right and wrong. Yeah. Don't do this, whatever. And so you don't know limits and everything else. Just my warning would be, whatever you're going to do in the beginning, do it with your people. Have like your tight circle.
Be smart and be safe. And we'll talk about this too. And I mean, you don't have to bring up anything if you've ever seen it. It doesn't matter to me. But obviously, like, we got a lot of like cocaine use goes on strictly for trimming weight. I mean, this isn't even there. Like, there is one program that I know for a fact that they like, it's culture. And like all the top girls do it all the time. And like they, not that long ago, had someone die from doing it. And it made headlines. But like that is a part of their culture, and like that has been going on since I was in high school, and I was looking at going in there, and like we are 16 years later, and like I know it's still happening, and like but that's not uncommon. Like a lot of girls, because there's a lot of pressure to maintain a certain weight, and I'm gonna tell you something: if you don't eat and you just do lines of cocaine, you're gonna lose a lot of weight because you're not eating, and then that stuff it destroys your body because it sends you into an overdrive. Well, when you get into an overdrive, what does your body do? It burns calories. But the first thing that it's always going to burn is not fat. It's going to burn off your muscle. That's the most. That's why with cardio and running is not the most effective cardio, especially for cheerleading, because when you run, especially if it's long distances, the first thing that's going to get eat up is your muscle mass to make you thinner so you can run. So like if you run too much or you run too often, then you get to a point where you can't put on muscle mass. If you can't put on muscle mass, you can't stay tight. And that's, like I said, I always said that's more important than like, I don't care how little you are. If I can't keep you in the air because you can't stay still, or if you're a guy and you're really fighting to stunt, like if you're a smaller guy and you're really fighting something and you're running a lot, you're not going to put on any muscle because you're just eating up everything. I mean, you will burn fat, but like you're going to burn, like anytime you do like a bulk and then a trim, you lose muscle mass. Like it's obvious that you do. So like, that's why I've always said I don't think that it's the most effective for cheerleading. It's just the simplest thing to do. Like it's hard to mess up running, Like, like it's hard to not. But like some people can't do like. I always think like the stop and start kind of stuff. Like when I would run, it's explosive, it's sprints, it's to like mimic because like no amount of running is ever going to mimic a routine ever. Like
no,
there's
nothing that
yeah.
you could do ever to prepare you for a routine other than running your routine.
You would have to do something. It would be you'd have to almost do like an obstacle course that has different levels of changes because like that's really what it is because like like for a guy throwing a top girl is one motion, throwing a tuck is a different motion, and like it exhausts you in different ways. You're using different parts of your body in different ways. Like it would be like if I ran across the floor and then at the end of the floor I got to do a deadlift or something like that, and then I got to run back. Like even that's not accurate because I'm not doing a lot of running, but like it's holding something is a different kind of pressure on your body than lifting something and all this. Like I said, running is. Am I saying is it great for cardio? Yeah, but like it cannot mimic what really goes on with your body during a routine, and I just don't think that it's like I had teams that ran all the time, and I don't feel like it ever made anything any easier.
No.
When we did distance, like when we did dynamic workouts and like jumping stuff with explosion, like the CrossFit type stuff where you're like shifting gears and having to maintain a certain pace. I feel like that's more effective, but like it's still you just can't duplicate what we do. Like
no, well, and each skill is like you're squeezing different parts of your body. Like a back handspring pull up is different than like a rewind. Like you're squeezing different parts of your body or having to contortion your body in a different way, and then you got to do a standing tuck right after that.
Exactly.
But like, what workout do you do to mimic those skills?
There's nothing you can do besides the skill, which always comes back to the fact like you're never going to get better at this if you don't do it.
Yeah.
If you don't put in the extra work, you're never going to get better.
And that's going in outside of practice. And like even during 2-a-days, there would be you like stay after and work on the skill or come early. And I'm not kidding.
Yeah, no.
Like during 2-a-days for nationals, if we weren't hitting the skill consistently in that practice, we would have to stay after until we hit it like 5 times to the top, and then we could go home, take our break, and then we'd have to come back in like 45 minutes to an hour for second practice.
And go through the same thing again.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. How long after you made the mat do you guys start doing full outs? Do you do it before the big period? Like get a few in, or are y'all just wait till
it's after Christmas? When you come back from Christmas, we ran a full out like before our Christmas break. Which, when I say Christmas break, you have to stay the whole time. The only time you get to go home are Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and like the day after Christmas. So you
that's purely to travel.
Literally. Christmas Eve you travel, you get Christmas Day home, and then the day after Christmas you travel back. Because you have practice at like 6 a.m. We always like did the routine 3 times. The first time you mark it, the second time you do all the stunts, the third time you do all the pyramids, and then the 4th time full out. Or you do like a fat boy full out, which is
everything but tumbling.
Everything but tumbling.
Oh.
You go full out after full out.
How many full outs would you say was normal per practice?
It depended on the practice. I mean,
Or what was the goal? Was it like, if we hit this many times, we're done? Or
yeah,
is
I
it
think
just,
it
because,
was.
like, you can't come in there, like, Brandon used to say, or Brandon would tell me his show was like, our goal is that we're going to hit 2. Whether
Yeah.
that takes 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, we're going to hit 2.
So you had practice twice a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, or at night. Hit a full out at each practice. So 2 a day. Now, if you go in and you hit full out and you just rock it, you're doing great. Then you'll have like a smooth sailing like practice for the rest of like that practice time. So it's just like tweaking this, making sure timing's good here and whatever. If you bomb it, you're going to keep running a full out until you hit.
Yeah. Now, were you on one of the teams that hit the very first time they went full out? Because that's all I heard from fucking Mark that year. It was like, he came and did our choreography. He was like, or we were getting ready to do our first full out, and he was like, yeah, well, my Morehead all-girl team, the first time they went full out, they hit. So, like, you can do it. It was just like, I was like, yeah, I understand that the elite of the elite just did that, but, like, we're not those human beings.
Yeah, I can't remember for certain if
it was around the time.
It would have been my first year on all girls, so my second year at Morehead, or my third year.
Yeah.
That we hit full out.
Because I couldn't tell you for sure which one it was. I just remember he kept bringing that up all the time, and I was like, "That's awesome. I'm happy for you." But
yeah. I think
we do not have those animals on the team
if
anymore.
If it was, I can't remember for certain, but if it was, I would say it was probably my first year on all girl, and that was the year we did the strongman pyramids.
There's a lot that's going on besides just the practices. You guys are performing regularly at anywhere that you can find, which is obviously you guys do the Morehead showcase, which is like the big. Is that like the send off? I mean, that's the one where everybody like. Do y'all do something before? Because it's not long after that showcase.
I think we did. UK had a showcase.
Yeah, I knew you guys went to one of those. We went to one with y'all once. I remember that.
Yeah.
But like you guys would perform at high schools, like pretty much anywhere. The V Rock showcase that they do, which is around that same time. It's usually the weekend. Like you guys would be there.
Yeah. There's one at oh, now I can't remember. We do one, and this is the scariest one that we do. It's at an elementary school, Rodburn Elementary School. But there is nowhere to warm up at all. They only have the gym, but it's during an elementary school basketball game. So there is nowhere to warm up. So we do our dynamic warm up, which is like the lunges and like rotating your arms and whatever. You don't lift a single skill. We sit in a circle. We envision the routine. We envision hitting the skill. Then we go out and we perform. No warm up.
It sounds like death.
I fell to my face on one of those. One year, that video's on my Instagram.
Iconic.
It was when I had to do that front flip to a prone.
Of death.
To my death. Should have been my death. I literally face planted.
I was impressed by how quickly you got up.
Popped right back up.
Yeah.
They used to call me a bouncy ball.
That's the one where you go home and have you a nice cold Dr. Pepper and just sit there and stare at the
Sure
wall.
Did. I at 2-a-days, but I ran out of Dr. Pepper during 2-a-days. So much of a Dr. Pepper drinker, I would have one at practice with me. And they'd already told us, like, no sugar, no soda, no alcohol during 2-a-days. But I was the exception. I would bring a Dr. Pepper. I ran out, and my big on-all girl, Kayla, she said, "You're being a real bitch. You need to drink your Dr. Pepper," and bought me a 24 bag of Dr. Pepper. So I had to pop one open at practice.
Crack it open a cold one with the girls. And it's just Dr. Pepper.
It's just a Dr. Pepper.
Obviously, on a personal level, the Morehead stuff aside, how do you get through that? We can all sit here and preach what the cult preaches, is what I'm saying. I'm not that they're a cult or anything like that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can sit there and you can spew the answer that you're told to spew, but how do you, on a personal level, because, like, I mean, this is your first time doing this to this scale with these people. Mm-hmm. Big name, big responsibility, which is not unfamiliar for you, but it's always just, it's magnified because Morehead's bigger. Because, like I said, the pain's unreal. It's probably at this point like nothing you've ever experienced before in your life. You're doing things when your body feels like it absolutely cannot do them, and you're still doing it. Obviously, the bruises, like the mid layer, like unholy sights, like disgusting things. And it's almost like if you don't have them, you don't feel like you did your job, which is weird and messed up in a lot of ways. But I mean, and obviously, you got the intensity of everybody. Like you have alumni coming in sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people talking about what you have to represent. It's not easy, and like I can't even fully describe. I've seen glimpses of it, but to be in that type of environment for hours at a time, multiple times a day, and then when you're doing this, the worst part is like the only thing you're supposed to focus on is this. Like there is no school going on. Like, oh, I can go back to my room, but I'm thinking about how I can rest for my next moment of suffering.
Yeah.
It's a really long period, and a lot of people lose nationals during this time period, and that's the truth. Like they get beaten here before they ever even get to get on that mat in Florida. How do you on a personal level navigate all this?
Just me and my person, I've always wanted to do the impossible, and I've always been very headstrong. So it's during this time, like, yes, you're in so much pain, and 2-a-days, and these are the only people you're seeing. Like, you are at each other's throat at some point. I watched Morehead so much, so I could only assume there were other people that were going to watch me the way I watched Morehead. I had to go through a lot of trauma and a lot of things in my life, and so I wanted to be able to overcome and do something so impossibly hard and just prove like I'm this much stronger and I'm this much more mentally tough. Like I can do anything. Mm-hmm. And so no matter how beat down I was, it was like I gotta make it out. I gotta dig deep for like the ones who are watching and like this is what they've dreamed of, this is what they want to do, or that somebody they need to look up to. Like I'm not this spectacular person by any means, but for me it was like if I can do it, so can you type of a moment. Mm-hmm. And so it was like I gotta do it, even if other people don't know like anything that I've been through. Like I gotta do it to prove like if I can do it, you can too.
So let's go over your first nationals, all girl. None of us come, do we? You're on your own down there, I believe.
Yes. Yes.
Because I know the year that you won, we did not go. And your mom
it was my first 2 years you guys didn't go. It was my fourth year when I had my diaper.
Yeah. And your mom was there. I remember that because I think I paid for her to go, if I remember correctly.
Well, Maddie was doing high school cheer, so I told Mom, like, go to Maddie's because you guys had been to all of my high school ones. I was like, Maddie needs you. That's okay.
Yeah. Which I was going anyway, so. Just on different sides of the street, apparently. Because, like, this one was my first year at McCracken. And, it's your first year on all-girl. Mm-hmm. Not that me being at McCracken has anything to do with it, but it will for the second part. So, like, obviously you guys get down there. You go by bus, correct?
Yep.
Drive through the night.
Yeah.
And you guys don't get as much. Because, like, you guys probably even on Thursday? Get there on Friday or get there? I
think we get there Thursday. And it's, like... So... I say driving through the night. We leave at like 3 o'clock in the morning, sleep on the bus. You get off the bus, you go practice on the field. And then there's, we go to one of the high schools and we practice.
Y'all would go to Bartow a lot during the summer, wouldn't you? And Bartow's that would be like, you guys, obviously Bartow would probably do something.
We had like a showcase at Bartow.
And Shelton used to come down to a lot of those a couple times.
It was Morehead, Shelton, and Alabama, I think.
So yeah, so you guys... I always think it's curious to see like who practices with who when you're down there, like what it like. Because like we always had teams like we would do stuff like that. You know, we'd always go to like Dr. Phillips. And, we always did stuff with Reland. Like before you guys, we had teams that we would do stuff with. Like it's always interesting to see who pairs up with who because it's an interesting thing because like your first time getting to watch other people do. Obviously, going to the football field as Morehead is probably like a huge.
It's so big.
Huge deal.
Because then everybody just kind of like stops and stares at you.
Exactly.
And and then the balconies, like they're full. of parents, but also other athletes, like other cheerleaders are
Well, I'll tell you
watching.
this right now too. There's judges out there too. Cause
But
like,
yeah,
hey, they flew us in. We ain't got nothing to do till tomorrow. Cause like at first you just it's like a vacation, till you got to go to work. Like everybody's having fun and hanging out. Like they're doing the same stuff too. They're like
yeah,
reminiscing. They're excited. But like they're out there watching, or everybody's talking about what goes on out there, and like you hear all kinds of feedback because the judges know everybody
yeah,
because like typically the judges or nationals are pretty higher ranking people like not just anybody gets to judge nationals. And obviously, you guys are Morehead. Like, you got a lot of alumni that are prominently featured in UCA. Not saying that there's any kind of stuff
Morehead
like
come
that.
just to watch, even
Yeah,
if they're not
yeah, yeah,
affiliated with UCA
yeah.
too.
It's a whole party. Like, it's a big thing. Like, it's a big. Like, you guys have a pretty good turnout for support
Yeah,
down there, which is crazy to think of being like this little nowhere school in Kentucky.
yeah,
But like a lot of people come out and support you. But like, and obviously the name and what you guys do. So there's lots of people talking and kind of setting the tone really early just from those interactions and stuff. Um, but obviously it's got to be big. Like I always think about it, like because I used to think like for us it was always a big deal when we were at Grays, but like there were a lot of teams that like from divisions that would have no clue who we were.
yeah,
Like the co-ed teams all knew us, and like the teams that were probably in the arena that day. Different story with Morehead because like everybody knows who you are. It's not
yeah,
like you can't hide certain aspects. Like you can't hide. Like people are gonna notice you where you go. They're gonna watch everything that you do. That type of
yeah.
stuff. So like it's do you? I'm sure you guys have the conversation like making sure that you're on your toes, like the way you carry yourself out in
Oh,
public because you
absolutely.
have
But
such a
the other
high
part of it too,
profile.
though, like you get to say you're Morehead. Like you're saying,
Yeah,
like it's so big and like everybody knows Morehead. So the other part of it, like you just kind of have your chest in the air anyway. You're like, I'm Morehead. Like it's
yeah,
watch what I can do. This is so cool. And there's such good athletes and cheerleaders
yeah,
out there. It's not like we are the only ones who can do what we're doing, but at the same time, it's like we are the only ones who can do what we're doing.
yeah. There's you're talking about. I mean, even if you look at it today, today, in my mind, it's like Morehead, and there's West Georgia, and then you got Alabama consistently at this level.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky's staying up there a lot. Oklahoma's been moving up. There's lots of moving pieces in the D1A.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot moving in D. In D. There's stuff moving, but it's pretty consistent. Eastern had been climbing up there for a while, but this merger is like, no offense to them, I hope they do well, but like this merger was not going to benefit them because they're looking to sneak in.
Yeah.
No offense. Like they've grown a lot, they've gotten better as a program, like, and they were picking up some steam. But this merger is definitely going to hurt them. But like back in the day, like you guys would be worried about this team or that team if you made a mistake, and now, obviously, you've got West Georgia, who has been on and had some success recently, and like they're a team that's like a legitimate contender that's different from the other ones because like a lot of the contenders that sometimes you'd have before, like you can make a mistake and like, okay, well, if this team's perfect, yeah, we're gonna lose, but like there's no guarantee that they're gonna, most teams are
Yeah.
struggling. Like this is a different story because like you can hit and this team is got the year some year to be able to beat you head to head,
Yeah.
like even if you do your job. And that's a unique, it used to be so unique for there because like, not to be mean, but like when it was Division II and West Georgia co-ed team, like you knew if they hit, they were going to win. Division I Morehead, if you knew they hit, they were going to win.
Yeah.
Kentucky and D1A, if they hit, they were going to win. Shelton State and JUCO, if they hit, they were going to win. And really, an all-girl at this time, Indiana, if they hit, they were going to win. And this is a different thing because you got two teams that like, it's not easy to tell. Like as a judge, when I sit there and I review these two teams, is one of the most difficult things to try to do because the creativity push is insane, but it's almost to a point where like, how can you decide which one of these things is legitimately harder? Because we're in that realm now where like you're doing stuff that most people don't know how to do, and then you're doing stuff that like, even if we're judges and we're experienced veterans, we have no scope of where this actually ranks other than we've never seen it because it's not something that we've tried.
Yeah.
You have to break down the variables and like try to logically decide like, oh, well, this thing's doing a full spin and a flip and this is doing a full spin and half a flip. Like sometimes it comes down to like you have to logistically think it out. Like that's the level of difficulty that everybody wants to judge it. Nobody wants the responsibility of what happens when you guys both hit.
Yeah.
And I promise you that nobody wants that. Like it's like it's easy.
Well, that was my third year. Let's see. I didn't win second. We won third. So my fourth year on all girl.
Yeah.
The year that I was talking about, I held her on my forearm. We hit the routine, but that was the first time that it was we hit and we didn't win.
Yeah.
And it was such a hard realization. It was like we didn't hit clean enough.
Yeah.
So we had to face that, and it was so hard to realize
it's
that.
different. It's a new thing, like for you guys, like, because it's, I mean, you've got to be clean. Like that's not, it's not like, but like sometimes you get away with it not being the clean. Like you obviously, like if you're pushing the envelope really, really hard, there's some leniency on that stuff, and like you see that today, like, Morehead and West Georgia and all three of it, like they're pushing the difficulty insane. And like, is everything hit at the top? No. But I mean, it's not like it's terrible. It's not like people are walking all over the mat and it's a crap show. It's a quick chest bump and right back up to the top, or, 3/4 of the way, something like that. There's a lot of that. I mean, the all-girl, they're vicious. Like, I've seen these all-girl teams. I'm like, how did all 5 of these just hit at the top? Like, I'm blown. Like I think they did the round off full twist and rewinds, and they smacked every single one of them. And then West Georgia will be over there bagged up, smacks them. I'm like, what is going on? Like these are skills that are hard to hit, and you guys are hitting them. Like it really is insane.
Yeah.
But like sometimes when you're pushing the difficulty, you can get away with it not being 100% at the top. The impact of your difficulty is so high that if the execution's a 9.8 instead of a 9.9, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's, but obviously this year, I mean, I know you guys did not win. Did you guys have a mistake this year? First year all girl.
My first year on all girl, yes, we had a mistake.
I think I remember. Was it a rewind?
It was the second half.
First stunt in the second half?
First stunt in the second half. So it was our IME. And it was a back handspring rewind and the side base sat.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that now. I can remember. I mean, I know you guys. You hit both the years after that, right? This is the only time that you guys had an actual mistake.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was the saddest thing because, like I said, I black out. And I was living for it. And it was so exciting. And I was like, we hit. And then I just remember the end of the music and all the stunts are on the ground now. We're picking up signs and palms. And I look out and I see our assistant coach's face. And I was like, what's going on? Did we hit? And she said no.
Yeah.
And then you go back into the waiting area and you rewatch your routine. And I watched it happen. And then I was heartbroken because it was a beautiful routine. And everything we had done up to that point was beautiful. Like we had it in the bag. And it was literally just that one moment of whatever it was. And then even after that, we finished so strong.
Yeah.
So it was just
2 minutes and 29 seconds versus 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That level of perfection.
It was just a moment. But then the sad part after that, I knew it was coming, but that side base ended up really getting, everybody dogged on her because she was the reason, and all of our, in everybody's eyes, she was the reason we lost, and it was a beautiful routine, and we hit everything else so clean. And so I was like, I felt so bad. I mean, I felt the same that they were feeling, obviously. I was like, you took that away from me. But then I was like, she's alone right now. So it was like I was her only friend for the rest of that time that we were in Florida. It was so bad.
Did she come back the next year?
Nope.
Damn.
No, she didn't.
Was that by choice?
Yes, technically.
Okay, she didn't get cut at tryouts.
No.
Is what I'm asking. Obviously, there's a lot to juggle.
She had made the choice before tryouts. She didn't try out the next year.
Yeah. So she knew. What year was she? Do you know? Do you remember?
I think she was the second year like me. I think we came in at the same time. I think her and I came in at the same time.
I mean, it'd be interesting. Obviously, I don't want to. I mean, we're not speaking ill of anybody. We're just being honest about stuff. But like, obviously, that's a hard thing. And like, the reality of it is that some people. And I don't know if this is the case, but like, there are certain places that like, if you're the person that makes a mistake, you're probably done. And whether that's your own choice, not being able to handle it and come back from that, which is probably plays some of a part into it. Um, and then the way people are going to treat you
Yeah.
is also going to play a way into that. Like I've seen that like at really big important programs, like, and it's just because of the simple fact of like you had an opportunity, you did not handle the pressure, and like each year is its own year, but the reality is that like I know that you fell apart. The one time I put you out there, I know that
Yeah.
couldn't do
Well,
it.
you had a
know?
job. Everybody has their own job. And like you were saying, like, you don't have to worry about everybody else. Just worry about yourself.
Mhm.
Because that's all you can control. And it was like, nobody had any worry. Like, we went out so confident in that routine. And really, like, aside from that, like, it was a great routine.
Yeah.
So it was just like, you had one job to just stand.
Yeah.
All you had to do, the reason it was even worse was because the side base like sat on the ground, so
Yeah,
it wasn't just
it wasn't
stunt.
just dropping, like
Yeah.
you bottomed out, and like that's
So it was like an athlete hit the ground.
Yeah.
Even though like you're not the one that was in the air.
Yeah, because it doesn't specify which athlete on that score sheet. It just says who hits the ground. You want to hear an awful story? These two teams, it was a game day competition in Kentucky. I worked it. I was one of the deduction judges, and these two guys ran out on the floor for the game day intro. And like the minute you come out, like it's on. And the two dudes bumped each other to do like a chest bump, and they hit each other a little hard, and they both landed on the ground on their back. And the old lady next to me was adamant that we were going to hit them both with the deduction for because they both ended up on their back.
Yeah.
And like they weren't doing a skill that was in the routine, but like it met the qualifications. And like I tried to be like I don't know, but like her argument was so good that I could not talk my way out of it. And I was like, she's right. And like that little thing right there prevented that team from getting to go to state, because like everything else about that thing was great, but like in game day you can't afford to give away a tenth of a point, let alone you just gave away almost a whole point on two people coming out there celebrating and doing something stupid. And like obviously this case is different, like what you're talking about, but like it's
Well, I mean, it's still an athlete.
Yeah.
Whatever, whoever back spot, main base, side base, like.
Well,
you're
West
on the
Georgia,
ground.
the shoulder set.
Shoulder set, yeah.
The shoulder set. Like, if it had been a regular shoulder set and she just, which is hard, like, if you drop a shoulder set, like, there's no way to avoid somebody hitting the ground.
Yeah.
Obviously, this one was pretty bad. I mean, it was like, but like, really, when you look at their routine, that thing was flawless from top to bottom, other than that shoulder set. And it's crazy that that's what it came down to. But like, it doesn't matter what, like, it doesn't have to be a pyramid, and it doesn't have to be a stunt. It can literally be like, you be walking off that mat and trip and face plant, and like we are within reason to hit you with that deduction. Like that's reasonable. And like they set a precedence for it, that they were going to do it, and they made examples. Obviously West Georgia was very unfortunate that they were the example that was made out of. But they also did it too for shock value. You'll never convince me otherwise. They saw an opportunity to give someone else a championship other than the same two people that always won it, and you'll never convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you were there at Morehead, and we'll talk about it more when it goes on. Like, you guys weren't shocked about how y'all's went. I obviously believe. I mean, I really feel for West Georgia in that situation, because, like, you'd almost rather you just drop something.
Yeah.
Like,
you would
I
rather
hate to be that.
like bobble a stunt and like have the stunt come down than an athlete be on the ground.
And like it's such crazy that I'm saying that. Well, they got hit for a stunt drop for that on top of that, like, because the shoulder set is considered a stunt. So that's a stunt fall in the cheer plus the deduction. Like, that's murder. They
made sure they were not going to win.
Yeah. And I wonder if that had been somewhere else in the routine, if they would have let them win, if that had been like a, I don't know, something during the music, because like when you get hit in the cheer, everything gets hit. It hurts everything. So I wonder, and I hate to say that, because like, I mean, I get why the judge has gone that way, but I very easily could have gone a different direction. But like, I get it. It's just, it's unfortunate that were the circumstances that happened. I did feel like it was a little bit like the knife was stuck in and they kind of wiggled it. I felt like the judges wiggled it a little bit to make it hurt worse. I do believe that. But like, that's the reality of it. And it's, college scoring is a little bit different. The level of execution is different, and I feel like there is not a lot of room with leniency. Like, they are not nearly as forgiving at times, and that's
well,
the
and
truth.
it also depends on the caliber of the program.
Yeah.
Like West Georgia and Morehead, you either hit clean or they'll give it to a team.
Well, I'm sure you've heard this talk before. Dynasties are bad for business.
Yeah.
Because not from a spectator. Most times, spectator doesn't care. Like, we're just watching. But like, the spectator that's watching at home does not generate the revenue that the teams that come do.
Yeah.
And when you come all the time and you continually lose to the same person all the time, continuously, people want hope that they can win.
Yep.
And the only way you can do that is like, once the door becomes open, they will try to create as big of a gap as they feel comfortable creating. I mean, they're always looking for a reason anyway. But they will do that because it's good for business to see different people win. And like, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know. But like, we also, if you don't understand that at this point in the game, like, that what your expectation are, that's reasonable. But like, you're like, oh, that's crazy. But like, I get it though. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me. Like, am I going to reward the team that was perfect, or am I going to reward the team that was crazy and had a mistake? Like, sometimes it comes down to that. And like, especially like in this case too, like with two powerhouses, like, it's going to be 20, 30 years before someone not named one of those teams wins that division again. And that's the truth. Like, it's going to be forever before it happens.
Yeah.
So they took an opportunity and they tried to create something, and that's the story. Like, that's you. But like I said, with you guys, like, there's a tremendous expectation. Like, they always talk about it, like, there's no leniency, and you always go out there and assuming that, and that's a grinder in your head, and like, we'll talk more and more about that. But like, I want to segue into your next nationals, and we'll wrap this up because this has gone a little long. But we've talked about a lot of good stuff. A lot of conversation is organic, and we've been real about a lot of stuff. Like, you should have a pretty good idea of the game at this point. But like I said, we're going to come back and do more later. But like, I want to segue over to your second year all-girl, third year at Morehead. Mm-hmm. And we'll go through this quickly because I'm not really going to hit the tryouts or the camps. What year did you do the dolphin flip to the immediate stretch as your tryout? Was that your last year?
Yeah, that was my that was my fourth year.
Yeah. When you were like...
Yes.
Because at that time, I remember that, like, you didn't see the dolphin that often at all at the time.
I did at camp.
Yeah.
Wait, no, you didn't see it that often at all.
Yeah, it was a rare thing.
It was like just coming into circulation.
And then you did it to an immediate stretch, which, I mean, I still haven't seen anybody do that. I mean, definitely nobody's competed it. There might have been on the partner stuff like that. It's insane difficulty. And I mean, yours was the first one I ever saw.
I did it to an arabesque too.
Yeah.
It was like I switched switched midair and like into an arabesque.
This is the year that you guys win.
Yep.
And I've talked about it, like, your center point on this. You're in a pretty prominent position, featured prominently. Like I said, you've become the chin pop girl at this point. Like, the performance and stuff paying off. And like I said, we won't touch on a lot of this stuff because obviously camp is camp. It's going to be the same still because like your role has not significantly changed. I mean, you're going to be an influence to girls. Like, obviously people are going to feel more comfortable coming to you, but like, you've stayed like until you really hit that like back end status, like, you're not really a veteran, and like, that's the way that they guys perceive you. But like, it's not, obviously, like, you've got some dependability from your teammates.
Yeah. You
probably have a better understanding of what's expected of you every single year.
Yep.
And you guys are coming off loss. So you're super hungry and super motivated. And I can imagine what that looks like. Would you say the intensity was picked up significantly because of that? Or
it absolutely was. But I think it was, if you could see behind the scenes, like the way that the team just band together, you already knew, like, okay, they've got it. Like, this is like something so special. But there were a lot of times like us as a team would butt heads with Mark. So instead of it being like we're at each other's throat, it was like we knew what we needed to do. Mark give us the go ahead to do it, or he was like, I want to see this, and we were like, no, that's not what's gonna get it, or whatever. So it was like we were more butting heads with Mark than we were with each other, because we had already, like, we went in extra, we already did what we needed to do, and it was like, we trust us on this, we can do it.
This is the team that he explicitly said, like, I don't think I even have to come to practice, and they're going to do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, it was.
And like he's like, I could live. I think he had said something. He's like, I would come in there and like we would just do like stunt stuff or like that. And he's like, I would come in there at the beginning, tell them what to do. I could leave and go to my office for 60 minutes and come back, and everything I would want done would be done. Like they wouldn't waste time. All girl will survive because all girl will survive. Like it doesn't matter. And I'm not taking anything away from him or trying to say that about anybody, but like the way that program runs and the way that they have an understanding of it is like, it really doesn't matter who's in charge of it because they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Like they don't need an anchor so much. Like they're going to do the work. Like you don't have to worry about that aspect. It's really up to you. Can you put the puzzle piece together for them to go to do it? And that's really the question. And obviously he's a fantastic choreographer. So like, I'm not going to like, it's not true. Not anybody can do that job because like you got to know when to push and pull, but like, if it could be self-sustainable, that is a program that could be self-sustainable.
Yeah,
you know, that's the potential of that. So, obviously, school's the same school stuff. You're going through all the performances, still involved in all this stuff.
Yeah.
Still have all the alumni. Still go through all the great stuff. You make the mat once again.
Yeah.
You go through the suffering. Anything unique about this suffering compared to the other one?
I think that it was just everything about the year was different because it was like we were so close to winning the year before. Like we could taste it. Like it literally was like we ended the first half. We ended after the cheer and we were like, oh, the rest of it's easy. We won. And so then it was just like this year was just so different because it was like we knew what it was going to take because we had it before. But we knew that it took more focus. That was it.
Yeah.
And so it was just, we were in, we did what we needed to do. Like, we did it exactly how we were supposed to do it. And I will never forget, this is the year that I was, like, in and out of consciousness during the performance. But it was, like, happy thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, in the elite, like I said, like, I was in the rubber band, and I was like, oh, my gosh, we're doing it. And it smacked to the top. And I was like, oh, we got it. Elites are good. And then we get in the second half, and I front spot a basket, and I turn around, and I just, like, throw out, like, it was, like, a point. I don't even know. Like, if you watch the video, it just, like, on my face, it was like, we've got it. We won. But it was just the way that we all came together. And I can't really remember, like, a whole lot throughout the year, honestly. But I don't really think it was like we were against each other even throughout the year. Like it was like we came together.
We knew what we needed to do. We were going to do it.
Yeah,
that's the good stuff. Now we were at the Morehead showcase too. Obviously, you guys were there because you're Morehead. I remember because that was the year I had a lot of new boys, and like I'd returned 3 boys, so like most of my boys are new, but like. You had come to stunt with me at the beginning of that summer, and then I mean, you were coming to some practice and stuff like that, and like the boys were like, I mean, we weren't doing anything crazy, but like anytime the boys saw me stunt with you, they're like, good God, they're just like, because they'd never seen anything. But I know it's not like we weren't doing crazy. I mean, we were probably working on hand to hands and front hand spring outs, but like it wasn't like we were going like ham and like insane skills or anything like that. But we were putting on a show, and I was like, this is what it's supposed to look like, and I would tell him. When we watched the performance that you guys had with Morehead, my boys were pretty much, I don't want to describe them as like womanizers, but like they were just, they're new and they don't understand the whole world. And this team of guys was so dumb. And I always said like, the only reason they were successful is because they didn't know how much pressure was really on them. Like they didn't know that they were supposed to be scared. They just thought, we're just going to go out here and win. Like, we'll just do that. And they're like, But that was the guys. But like they didn't have the experience. They didn't know the pressure. They just did not understand. Like there was just so many guys that it was their first year. They were just dumb. But when they watched your performance, they're like, one of them goes, "Are you the good one or is she the good one?" And this is one guy. He's like, "That looks pretty good." And it's like, I've never seen you do that. And I was like, well, it's because you've never seen anybody do this. Like it was like, but yeah, I mean the routine was like crazy good. Like
It was just the energy that we gave too.
you were so popular amongst the girls on the team, that on my team, because they were like, oh my god, they're like, that's the girl that comes to our practice. Because I remember like I always sat down and I always came down first row, and I would say, all the kids are like with me because like they're like, but like you're the only person they know on that. Well, I mean, some of them would like fangirl other people, but they're like, that's Abby, and like so popular, and everybody like. But like I said, I always felt like seeing that stuff always just, for me, like I said, it was always so satisfying to like see you and like make it, because like when you made the switch to all girl, like I didn't know what to think because like you'd always been co-ed, and I was like, this is just, I always felt like it was gonna make it harder for me to understand what you went through in some ways because like it is different. But I also felt like not like that's a big deal or anything like that, but like I always just thought like this is always gonna be something that you're gonna have that I'm not gonna really be able to relate to. But the honesty of it is like the better that you did, it boosted the way that people perceived me still. Because like it always came down to like I was just telling them like just do what she says, and like, well, Burnham's right. We're watching her, and like I said, like you always came back and you always helped my programs, and you always looked after my kids, and you would come in and stunt and do whatever they asked. I think when they finally got to see the full scope of what you were capable of, I think that they appreciated the fact that someone that was at your level would come and give them the time of day. That meant a lot to them because they really, they probably always just thought you came because I asked you to come or something like that. But like, they didn't understand, like, because like I couldn't showcase how talented you really were, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but I've told Jennifer this once time too, because Jennifer asked me probably on the bus ride up to this, like, how you were doing and how you reflect on stuff, and I always came back to said I was like, the only thing that's ever upset me is that if you ever looked at her win-loss record, it doesn't tell you how good she really is. Because, like, I always felt like you were someone who, any year that you didn't win, I never felt like it was because of you.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of the hard part of this, is that you have to depend on everybody. And sometimes it was choreography. A lot of times it was other people making mistakes. And that's the reality of it. And I always felt like,
my record, I never dropped on the map.
Ever. And like that's what I always say is like if you just looked at her win-loss record and like you maybe like this or that, I was like I promise you most people don't understand how good she is. I was like I know you always felt like this too going into this one because we'd had this conversation. Like you always just felt like you're in the right place at the wrong time, and like we had that conversation a lot because you only won once at Graves when we had prior to that I think we had won 5 times in like 6 or 7 years, some stat like that. But we were on the decline too. Yeah. Like we were on, things changed. The whole world changed. They merged divisions, changed the rules, changed everything on us. We were trying to figure out how to survive. That's not your fault. Like you were talented,
Yeah.
And then, we always had years where people made mistakes. And like I said, that's definitely not your fault. You spend your first year at Morehead and like, you don't get out there at all. Which, I mean, you're not like heartbroken about it. You understand. But like, that's one thing. And then your first year on all girl, I know that you felt like, because I mean, your mom, you said this to your mom. Your mom told me you felt like you were cursed. You were the reason that they weren't winning. Say that. And like you had said that. So we get to this point right here where, like I said, you're in the middle. I remember screaming. I've still got the video. I screamed, "That's my seed." I screamed it. I screamed it. You can hear it in the video, but like I can yell as loud as anybody. And like the fact that you can still barely hear me over that crowd is like a testament to how insane, because that routine was insane. The backhand spring up immediate arabesque was gorgeous. Yours was beautiful. I mean, you always did the extended hand to hands. You had so many great elements in your routine. You had good pyramids, all that stuff. I mean, it was a great performance from top to bottom. just at the showcase. Like, I mean, we went and we would practice with you guys beforehand, and
Yeah.
like you were doing the baskets and stuff too. Like you guys had the X out tuck baskets and all that stuff. Like, I was like, I'm seeing a lot of stuff that you're involved in. I was like, I was impressed. At this point, I felt adamant, like this is the best girl in the world, and I felt like you proved it, and I felt like it had come true, and like everybody around me knew it at this point too, because it's not like, I mean, it's no mystery. Like when you guys get to nationals, you guys hit one of your stunts. One group saves a stunt, or it looks like it's gonna get in trouble. But like it's hard to tell because like they save it so quickly, and like from that point on, it's just like after that first stunt, the big long sequence was over. Like I knew, I knew that it was gonna happen. And your mom was like, "Oh, I'm freaking out." Like watching, I was like, "It's over." I was like, "I'm telling you right now, I can." It's very rare that you watch videos that you can feel energy through the TV. Like it's
Yeah.
nothing compares to being there in person. That was one of the few times that I could tell while watching on TV that I was watching something special, and that doesn't happen very, very often. But that's one of the few times that I can say I did. Now for you, because like we already know the pressure of going out on the mat. For you, to this point, when it's all said and done, when you walk off the floor, describe to me that feeling first of all, because I also think like sometimes coming off the floor is better than actually having confirmed what you already know.
Yeah.
Like that
It,
initial feeling when you watch that video, when you're on the
yeah.
Tron, you're like, oh yeah.
That was the year we hit both times, didn't we?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure we hit both times. And it was so everybody was just so ecstatic the first time we hit because it was like we hit. And it was just joy. And so everybody walked off, and I was the only one that went to go pick up my sign and palms, and I looked and nobody picked up their sign and palms. And so I'm waddling off the floor with everybody's signs and everybody's palms, and I was like, "Hey guys, great job. Can everybody grab their stuff?" And I plot my arms are donezo, and I was like flopped them down. But the second time, like I said, there's a video, and I'm gonna have to send you this clip so you can add this to this video as well. But it was after I front spotted the basket, and I turn around, and I just I don't even know how to explain it on a video, but I just gave a good old hearty point to the crowd, and then I just showed the Morehead on my chest, and that was the moment that's the picture of the feeling walking off. Was that right there? It was this is Morehead, and it was everything we fought for the year before, and then for the people we fought for, and for each other that we came together and we did it for each other. I had no doubt in anybody on that mat. I was you're all gonna do your job, so I'm gonna have fun with this, and I'm gonna make this the best thing ever, and I'm gonna perform the best that I can. And this is actually where that iconic picture of me doing my iconic chin pop came from. Was this year, and I'm literally my face is facing the ceiling. But walking off was just joy.
Yeah. And then obviously the guys, they announced you as the winners, the champions. I know I sent you a text message probably saying a whole lot of stuff like congratulations, have fun, be safe, a whole lot of stuff. It's hard because you're getting blown up by everybody probably because anybody that everybody that we had knew where you were, and they knew that you won. And obviously John and them are there because John would come and watch and stuff like that. He got to a point where he became a regular, and it was crazy. He was coming to watch, and you were the only one to watch for a long time.
Yeah.
Now they go regularly, and they've got lots of people to watch, but it didn't used to be the case. Like I said, I mean, prior to you, only one other top girl that I know of cheered in college from that winning era, and that was Jackie. And obviously we know, I mean, Jackie was regarded as the queen, in high school. She was my stunt partner, so I had no mercy on anything ever because she was the greatest. I learned it was super easy to figure out whose fault it was because it was always mine. She went on Cheer at Kentucky. She did Team USA. She had a really good run, really good success. And obviously, this is another. I mean, it's a testament at this point because now we've got two girls. Both of them come to our program. We've only got two, but like you can make the argument that we produced some great ones. We got multiple national
The
champions.
ones that have gone have been great.
Yeah, we've got some multiple national champions at this point, and like I said, I mean, really to put a cap on this and kind of bring this story back to where it started, we'll go to our nationals, which is just like a month later, and like I talked about this before in my other episode. One of the primary reasons why I ended up leaving, or I think probably set me down on a bad path at Graves County to where I knew it was inevitable that I was going to win or that I was going to leave, is that your senior year when we lost, because me and you and Maddie were all part of the team. It's I was a coach, Maddie was an alternate, you were there, and I legitimately believe that was the only way that the three of us were going to win together at the same time, because it's the only time that we're all going to be together. The statistical probability that we would be able to separate and have that same success was just impossible. And it became worse and worse because eventually I left too, and then we ended up in three different places. And I just never thought that it would happen. You had just won, and obviously Bartow runs rampant on large co-ed at this time.
Yeah.
But they have some mistakes, and we did not think we were winning. I didn't know we were winning until I heard our name called. Like, we had no confidence in that at all. But, you know, I remember, like, when we were waiting for the awards, like, Maddie and them get called. And, like, I was really emotional for Maddie winning. I was excited for that. I was the same.
I didn't think Graves County was winning that year either, though.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's no way.
Well,
like, the skills that Bartow had done were so big.
Yeah, it was a gap from hands libs to
backhand
backhand spring ups. But it became, it was one of those ones that wanted to prove a point, follow the deduction sheet. And they did that.
They did.
And, you know, Graves ended up winning. And I was like, I remember sitting at Raymond. I was like, here we go. It's time to go. I can't repeat what Raymond said that we were getting ready to go take. But he's like, let's go up here and take it. And, like, they got down to it. They called second place. And, obviously, they did not call our name. And I remember looking at Raymond like, oh, shit. And, like, then they announced that we won. And we're celebrating. And we're doing all of our stuff. And then we come through the tunnel. And, like, Maddie's already down there with Graves. And, like, you guys are all down there celebrating with your sister. And you've won. And then here I come. And I'm like, surprise. I remember saying that. Like, it happened. There was a moment that happened naturally, like amongst everything that was going on. And like, because Graves, McCracken, Blackman, or all that, they're like, it's a party. Like all of Mark's people. And there is a moment where naturally, I don't know how it happened, but all three of us had like gravitated to the same area. I remember like we naturally formed this triangle from all this stuff. And it was like that one thing that drove me crazy had finally happened. Like, I remember when we got back to the hotel room that night, Jennifer's like, I cannot imagine what you're feeling right now. And like it was like an insane thing because like I never thought, and it never happened again. Yeah. It was a one-time shot. And like once upon a time, I thought it was a one-time shot. And like that had like deflated me so bad because that was something that I wanted that I legitimately never thought that I would get again. Yeah. Like that one opportunity that I felt like had wasted forever. And like, in that moment, like I said, it was, for me, as in cheerleading, that is my number one moment. And, like, I know that it was, like, a month in advance, but, like, for all of us to get there and to that point in, like, three different places to all be national champions at the exact same time.
Well, it was just... Absolutely, because that was the only time that Graves had won when Maddie was on the team. That's the only time that I had won when I was at Morehead. So, really... the probability of all of it was insane. And like you said, Graves County was kind of like in that survival mode because of that merge still. Like they were still trying to come up from the merge still. Yeah.
And it was a miracle that we won because I think I had 16 freshmen on the floor or something. Yeah. It was an insane number. And none of my guys knew anything.
It was crazy.
They still don't know.
It was crazy.
But, you know, for it to come back to that full circle moment, to go from the bushy-headed kid to that moment, I thought it was incredible. And obviously that's where we're going to crop this now. We will come back because as awesome as this moment is, there's some not so awesome moments coming. Yeah. And things are going to spiral in a different way. And it's going to be interesting to talk about that from, you know, in my mind, your star never fell at all. But like you're going to go from this, where you're talking about how awesome everything is and how great the unity is and the drive, and like it's going to change. Some of these things that we've talked about, like on a personal level, it's going to kind of mitigate towards you. It's the nature of the beast, and you don't. When you play with the beast, you don't know who it's going to attack. You don't know where it's going to go, and that's part of it. Like I said, it's a monstrous thing between transfers, between people, between how they gel, between attitudes, between opinions. There's a whole lot that comes in, and you're going to get, but also this is going to be like the older you get, the more involved you get to be in these things.
Yeah.
Because you take on a more prominent role and you have more involvement in your team, and certain things are expected of you now that weren't before. Like that happens every single time. The people that show up to work and do the most work are the ones that end up getting all the work, so that's a lot of it. Obviously, we're going to talk about your final year, and we're going to let some steam out probably on that one, on both ends, because obviously I've stated before how unhappy I was about a lot of stuff that went there, just because we thought you were coming home, and then they convinced you to not come home and then do what they did. Yeah. And I was unhappy about that, and I voiced that opinion out loud to several people, and I'm sure that the person that didn't want to hear about it heard about it. Because obviously if I talk about it with all your friends, they're going to vent what I said to you, and I promise you I uttered many things. Many things.
Uttered many things as well.
And then obviously you finally end up, in the end, we'll cover that again, you finally end up back in Memphis.
Where I was promised that I would never go.
Yes. After we had talked about it before, we had talked that was your option. Like the great thing is, like both your options, we covered them. Yeah, we didn't get the Kentucky thing, but
hey, it's fine.
We were in Kentucky. We went to Memphis, and obviously you have it's the COVID year, so it's a different year, but you do have some success, and we're gonna have some really good stories of some trash talking that took place between us and a certain team that's I can't wait to roast them. I really can't. So I'm so excited about that. But this is obviously going to be really long, and we will have a part 2 following all of this. So I hope that you guys got plenty of information out of this. I think there was a lot of good stuff and a lot of good conversation. That's what this has been. Like we have an organized plan, and the conversation, a lot of things are going to happen organically. And when we're talking about this much stuff, there's so much to get into. And, 1 year can't encompass an entire story. Like I said, we're going to continue to talk more in the future because Miss Abby now obviously is just in for the weekend, but she's a school teacher in Memphis.
Yep, never left Memphis.
Yeah, which is a story all on its own and is full of highlights and stuff like that. So... but we're going to look back at a lot of other stuff again later on. And I have other episodes that I'm planning on working out. Obviously, I'm going to do the dark side of cheer, talking about some of the stuff with Title IX. I've been posting on that about some of the things that we've talked about today, probably going a lot more in depth on them. But we've been, obviously, like a lot of the stuff we talk about, it's not even just true. Like you meet a lot of people in cheerleading, and you have conversations, like what goes on everywhere. Or, not everything, but like there's stuff that everybody knows about. They vent to other people. They talk about stuff within their team. So like you hear a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things, pertaining to that. Obviously we have this one as well. I have a few other things that I'm working on to get out and get. But as always, if you like and enjoy my content, please continue to like, follow, subscribe, share, retweet, whatever it is. And I thank you guys very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your time, and I will see you next time on Memoirs of the Father.